Okay, to discussion, vote, adjust agenda if necessary. It's gonna be a long meeting.
I think we can go on.
Okay. All right. Any public comments? Please limit your comments to 5 minutes.
I'd like to ask a question.
Sure, go ahead, BJ. Go ahead.
Thank you. Is there any way to address the topic you wish to discuss with me so I don't have to sit through your whole meeting? Is that possible?
Yeah, I believe so.
That would be great. I would appreciate that very much.
Okay, number 17. Want to
And
move
maybe
that up?
also the battery presentation, if she's on here.
In the battery
So
presentation.
that's number,
15? No. Yeah,
yes.
number 15.
And I'd like to table the minute to our next meeting. We have a lot of stuff on here.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sorry, I just got our financials all in pieces over my yard.
Okay, so I would enter, where do you want to move it up to, after number 7? Lisa, do you think?
Yes,
Okay, so somebody needs to make a motion.
I move that we move number 15 and 17 after number 7 and to table number 19.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Director Gibson is seconded. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried 5-0-0.
Hello.
Hello, yes, David.
Would you be able to move some of the water project stuff ahead of financial business? Or an option would be to just call us when you're on that agenda item.
Okay,
We could move financials to after 14.
okay, I entertain a motion to move 8 and 9.
Okay, I move that we move financial business number 8 and 9 to after number 14.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second
I'll
it.
second that.
Okay, Director Gibson has seconded. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried 5-0-0. Okay. Okay, for report of officers, President, do you have anything, Director Garcia?
None at this time.
Vice President, I don't have anything. Secretary?
I
Director
have
Kelling?
nothing.
Okay. Treasurer?
Yeah, I'll bring up most of what I have in the financial area. I made some transfers and also, yeah, I'll just bring it up as it comes up in the most.
And, okay, perfect. JPI representative?
I have nothing.
Okay. Yeah, we got to discuss something in there. Okay, number 5, board
Well,
member initiative.
hold on. For JPI representative, Becky, don't you need to discuss the portal that we, because it's not on anything else? That,
I'm sorry, what?
do you not need to discuss the JPIA cyber policy, cyber portal stuff that went to you?
No, I didn't get it. How
Okay.
was it sent to me?
Yeah, it was. Let me bring it up as treasurer then. Can you entertain me for a moment?
Yes,
Director?
we can, yes, entertain me, Director Schoenberg.
Okay, so we received a series of emails that are from, I guess, we need to confirm this absolutely, but I believe they're from JPIA Aqua. It's for a company called Alliance, and it's a whole application that we need to fill, or a whole informational packet that we need to fill out on a portal. That right now that was sent to, as far to my knowledge, it was sent to me, it was sent to Becky Gibson, and it was sent to Linda Wilkie, and also John. And it
Well,
needs,
actually, the way it started was it was sent to me and then I sent it to you guys.
right. So it's not on here, but it needs to be addressed somehow because it needs to be filled out by the 28th. And I don't know if we're gonna have time if we wait till the next meeting to fill it out. And you can't just selectively have us fill it out. It needs to be voted on by the board. So under board member initiative, I mean, I'm not even sure how we can do this because let me see if it fits under anything. I guess, because she's JPIA representative, it has to be JPIA, but I'm not even sure we can discuss it here.
Lisa, do you want to add it to the agenda as information that came after the packet went out, but needs to be voted on before the next meeting? You can add it to the agenda.
What's the date of our next meeting?
27.
The day before it's due? Yeah, then we need to add it to the agenda.
You can do.
So I don't think I should add it because my name's on it. I think it should come from someone who has not been sent that. I think I should abstain from voting.
Well, your name is only on it because I added it. Isn't that the correct way
I
to do
know,
it?
but if you need to make me part of an ad hoc, I shouldn't be making a motion.
Oh, that makes sense. Cool.
Not that I want to be part of this ad hoc. I have plenty on my plate already. I'm not really sure how I became part of this, but probably treasurer. So, but yeah, I think that probably Director Gibson and I should not put forward that motion or vote on it.
So,
And I'm sorry, it got lost in my email somewhere. That's what I'm assuming. I'm sorry about that.
So
so,
if we
so-
could add it to new business at the end of all of this, that would be good.
Okay.
But,
Director Kelly, could you make a motion that we add the JPIA? What is it? What is it called? Cyber?
it's cyber policies. If we get hacked. It's from-
Email.
I don't know.
Yahoo email.
I can,
That is- needs to-
Tiffany, you're gonna have to help on the wording at the end of this, okay? I move that we add to new business the JPIA portal cyber and fill in the blank, Tiffany.
Let me look and see what it's really called. I'm sorry. Hold on. It's It's called Alliant Liability Application for Cyber Liability Portal.
Okay,
Okay, just say that in light that it came to the board's attention after the agenda came out, but action needs to be taken before the next meeting.
okay. I move that we add the JPIA for, to the new business. It came to the board's attention that we need to deal with this before our next meeting, but it came out after the agenda.
Do I hear a second?
So it should be a discussion and vote.
Discussion and vote. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All right, Director Garcia has seconded that. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
I
Do I
think
abstain?
I think we
Okay.
can vote on this part,
Yeah.
Director Gibson. We just can't vote on the ad hoc.
right.
Okay, aye.
Okay, Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Motion carried 500. Okay. Okay, moving on to, are there any board member initiatives? Okay,
Negative.
hearing none. On to the manager's report.
All right. Last month we had 8 after-hour callouts. Nothing really drastic that we needed to do. We had one mainline repair. We received the Mini X, as most of you guys know, but we got it, and the crew, particularly myself and Logan, are in love with it. It really makes the job a whole lot easier and better. Let me see what else. Oh, the pond people reached out to Ken Schmidt and paid him separately for a study of the pond and whether or not a well would affect our wells. And apparently he's already done the study. So I was wondering if you wanted to add that to an agenda, either the next meeting or the next regular meeting, to at least discuss whether or not you're supportive so far of the process, or because of the drought you're not, or whatever it may be. So there may be some topics that you want to discuss.
I'd like to move that we add the pond discussion back in to the agenda for the planning meeting that happens on the 27th. And include discussion and vote on whether we are able to give them our blessing to move forward with a well, if that's what they decide to do.
We get a copy of that report?
Well, I'm assuming that they'll give us one, but since they paid for it themselves, but I'm sure that the board can't make a decision without having that report itself.
Well,
So if they want us to consider it, they have to provide the report.
Okay.
What do they want us to consider?
I second the motion to put it on the agenda.
Okay, yeah.
so just to discuss it, Director Gibson, the pond, they're trying to get the pond back, which has been an ongoing thing. What's happening is that there's a possibility of putting a well in where above, I guess, between our wells number 6 and well number, what will end up being well number 7, in the actual park, and that would feed the pond. It would be a much shallower well. They were actually the group that's visited this was actually suggested to them that they talk to Ken Schmidt, and they went forward and talked to Ken Schmidt, and actually paid for a report to see if it affects, if drilling a well in the park would affect the water for the town. And so Ken Schmidt, I guess, has issued a report on that, which I don't think any of us have seen yet, but
Okay, got it.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. It's been seconded by Director Kelling. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
aye.
Motion carried. Okay, you want to continue, Johnny?
No, that's it, unless people got
No,
questions.
you have on here, vote on application for water service.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They put in an application on Texas Trail. I believe it was. We actually potholed because we were unsure of what we were going to find, but we found a 6-inch C900 pipe, so we can easily provide water to them.
Okay,
Okay, quick question, Johnny. So Texas
Yeah.
Trail is not served, is served by the yard, correct? And not by well number 5.
Correct.
Okay. And
Okay.
It's up higher, isn't it?
Well, it's all the way up one street below me on East End, but the only part of town that well 5 feeds is the lower third of the town.
You don't need anything.
okay, so I'd like to move that we approve the because you looked at all this and you didn't see any issues. It's a 6-inch line, correct?
Nope, everything should be fine.
Okay, so I'd like to move that we approve the application for water service for John Silber. John Silber, Caitlin Silber, it looks like at 7, let's see, at lot 22, block, I can't read very well, 41, track 1, 3428 Texas Trail, Fraser Mountain, track number 1, it looks like.
okay.
I'll second that.
Director Garcia seconded. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried 500. Okay, on to administrative assistance report.
I don't have anything today.
Okay, 7 ad hoc committee reports, local information,
Nothing.
projects committee. I don't think we have anything, do we, Director Schoenberg?
Well, yeah, we have multiple things. So there's but most of it's going to come up under the discussion of the individual projects. So I think
Yeah, I
we
think
can
we should.
just discuss everything under that because there's nothing, I think, separate from that.
Right.
Well,
right.
actually, well, I mean, if we end up adding, yeah, right now there's currently nothing separate from it. If we end up adding number 15, then that would be another part of that. But right now we haven't discussed that yet.
Yeah, okay. Rate study committee.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely an issue. So we received some paperwork. So RCAC put in they amended their application to extend the period of time because it was originally put in quite a while ago, and we are not done with the book asset details. They're not able to finish and produce a rate study yet. So they in April they put in an extension of time, and the extension of time takes us to July 31st of this year, which is still a huge crunch because somehow in probably the next month, because we're supposed to be done with the rate study at that point. Then in October, it goes into a Prop 18. So I guess, the end of this month and next month, we need to be somehow taking apart all of the grant loans we got in the past and adding them as individual, they're just on the book asset detail as a lump. So, it'll say like $1 million grant and it doesn't say what we paid for. I know
The
that
assets are, yeah.
I know that we have all that broken out, but it's under like multiple invoices and all kinds of stuff. So we're going to need to go back through all of the USDA loan grants and try to break up all of the different wells and tanks and piping and all of that. So unlikely we're going to get done with it, but we don't really have a choice, I think, at this point. So we have to get as far as we can to get as bit of a
I can help you with that.
Who was that?
This is Dave.
Dave.
I'll be happy to share whatever records we have on that too.
Okay, well, we should definitely have records, but yeah, okay.
That'd be great, Dave. Okay, Budget Committee. We should be working on the budget should be starting pretty soon. Back up, so.
And that's also, is that Garcia right now? I can't remember.
Yes, it's you and
Yeah.
you and Director Garcia are on the Budget Committee.
Okay, so Director Garcia, I have, so many things going on. Probably at some point you're gonna need to talk to Linda Wilkie and try to, she's trying to redo a lot of our categorization. No, that's not the right word. She's trying to redo the way that our
Former
Linda.
bookkeeper.
How your chart,
Well, yeah,
chart
I
of
can,
accounts reads and how the classifications are for each grant and each project and things like that.
So what I think is gonna happen, Director Garcia, is that our budget is going to be different. The order of things is probably gonna be different. I don't know if that's something that you can start to work on with Linda. You're gonna need me too, but just put that out there.
Well, we could get started and then Lisa, ask you for your help when you've got time. So we can like get a format or something going and then go to you.
Right. So Linda, you can look at our old format for the budget. It's online. Our 5-year budget plan's online. So that'll give you
Okay.
what it looks like right now.
I have a
Okay.
question. Didn't you just update the budget, the 5-year budget? Like, wouldn't that help a little bit?
Yeah, we're basically going to use that 5-year budget. So it's actually
Mhm.
should be much easier this year. But like I said, because things need to be put under different categories, because it's not clear enough. Issues right now sometimes with when where we assign something to when we pay it, and Linda's gonna take a look at that and see if there's some better way of doing things. We can't actually do that till we talk to the auditor and everything, but I think we need to at least start moving forward with that, and then we would try to use the same numbers if everything still applies, but we would kind of revise the budget based on that new numbering system. It would be the same numbering, but with additional categories.
so what are you saying, breaking it down further?
Yeah, so breaking it down further and finding ways to put things under in a clearer way so that it's easier for the next, when new people come on the board. Right now it's just really difficult to follow, and it's difficult when we get new bookkeepers. So
Yes. Yeah, Linda, I'll reach out to you next week, see what's convenient for you.
Sounds
And,
wonderful.
I am hoping that you and I can get together actually physically so we can get our paperwork in front of us and actually be able to dig into this, have something that we can, mark up and have as a working or living document that we can work on.
Sounds good to me. Give me a
Right.
call.
Okay, I'll get your number from Tiffany and then I'll reach out and we'll get together.
And then
Okay.
Director Garcia, we just don't want to make any actual changes until we talk to the auditors and we vote on it.
Oh, absolutely,
right.
absolutely. And actually, we'll probably bring you in before we go to the auditors and then go to the auditors.
Right.
How's
Perfect.
that sound?
Perfect.
Okay. All right, moving on to, well, we had moved the new business, discussion vote, presentation on self-generation incentive proposal for well and booster sites. So,
So can I ask a question on this before we do the whole presentation?
sure.
I'm just curious if we could get some background on why it's currently just the 2 sites that we have, the
Yeah, I can give you that. Part of it is if it's too small, like some of our sites, they wouldn't provide the battery backup. Then the other thing was there was a big mix up on data collection. When it started, I was told to you turn over your access to your SCE bills, which I did. So they gathered all the paperwork from there, and then they needed a copy of the whole bill that we get. So I submitted that, and then it came back again. Well, we need this because you're missing that, and if there was no way we were missing it, but it was at crunch time in the field. I didn't have time, so I told him, well, we're just going to have to move on then. I don't have time to pursue this because the money was running out. So the information that they had is Wolf Tank and I believe Well 5 for battery backup, which are 2 very good sites, especially Wolf. So that's why we're moving forward with those 2.
Okay, thank you. And then the person that's gonna do the presentation, if we could also just find out, if I could ask that we find out whether there's actually a cost. It says no cost, but then I saw in another spot where it looked like there was a cost, but it's just later on that the cost that initially there is no cost, but that there's potentially cost as we go along. So I just really want to.
Is Alice on the call?
Yes,
Yes, I am, Johnny. My business partner, can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah, we can.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alice Heron. I am a partner principal in Golden State Renewable Energy, and my business partner, Mark Folke, is also on the call. He will lead the presentation. Mark is the one who's done a lot of these batteries at other water agencies. He will also explain the cost. I just want to really just kind of reemphasize there are no dollars coming out of Fraser Water District. So we're paying the upfront deposit. We're the ones getting the money. He'll go through the whole thing. But my one technical question is, is someone going to show the presentation, or do you want me to share the screen for the presentation, or do you have the presentation in front of you and you don't want me to share the screen?
Tiffany, you could give her control to share the screen, I think. Can you do that?
Yeah, I can do that. Just give me 1 second.
Are you okay with that, Johnny? I thought that since I.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's great.
Okay, great.
Appreciate it.
All right. All right, Mark, I'm going to pull it up.
Yeah, so why don't I go ahead and start while we are getting the presentation up. So it's Mark Folke. I'm the managing principal of GSR Energy. I have been in the renewable energy business since the late 90s, and a California native. GSR Energy stands for Golden State Renewable Energy. And if you could go to the next slide, it just kind of gives a little bit of an overview of what we've done. These are the projects that over time I've developed. I was previously in the wind business and also solar, and for the last 6 years I've really been focused on battery storage, as the state of California has an increasing issue of PSPS events, which are public safety power shutoffs, and grid reliability issues with an increasing penetration of renewables. So on the next slide, I'll fly through some of the introductory materials, but I do want to pause on the next two briefly. We have completed over 100 projects using battery storage in the Southern California territory. We've used, many of the projects have been Tesla because they're a bit larger. These projects are a technology called Energy Port, which is lithium ion. Gotion is the manufacturer of the lithium ion cells, which is the 5th largest manufacturer in the world. On the next slide, these are some of the wastewater treatment facilities where my team and I have overseen projects installed. So when we talk about 100 projects like this, we built 24 at the Irvine Company, Class A office buildings, Walmarts, Cal State Long Beach, UC Irvine, Kaiser Hospital. These are the wastewater treatment facilities that we've already built. We're going forward. We're working this year. We'll be building with a Nevada Irrigation District in Northern California, Bear Valley Water District. We'll be working with a couple Native American tribes. So what I'd like to emphasize here is that this is not exotic technology. This is, we're going to see an increasing number of battery projects installed in state of California and elsewhere. In terms of the next couple slides, I'd just like to fly through what the SCHIP program is. Self-Generation Incentive Program has been around since 2001. So what I want to talk about on the next slide from here is that there was a decision made recently by the PUC. The SCHIP is funded by ratepayer funds to commit to energy storage in areas that qualify as equity resiliency. And the reason why this is important, and we'll get into it in a slide in a minute, I think in a couple slides anyway, but the incentive level, if a facility qualifies, the incentive level is so high that it pays for the cost of the battery. And the CPUC has been clear that that was the intent. So the facilities we're talking about here qualify, and therefore we would just like to do our job, which is to develop the projects, get the projects in the ground, and make sure they work as intended. I'm happy to answer any questions along the way if anybody would like to interrupt. I'm just trying to respect people's time by moving forward, but please interrupt me along the way.
I have another question, Lisa Schoenberg. So the way that this is set up is that you own all of the hardware and the battery and everything that has, will be used for this, and you're also maintaining it. So, and you're saying that it is not going to be at a cost to us. So basically, how does that, is there kind of an explanation of how that works? So your company puts it in, your company is maintaining it. And where is
yes.
Yeah, if you could just explain how that works.
Yeah, no problem. Alice, if you could skip to slide 9, I'll go back to the SCHIP qualifications in a moment. But the way that this works is if a facility qualifies for the SCHIP equity resiliency category, which these do, then the SCHIP pays over 5 years. So 50% of the incentive is paid at permission to operate, and the actual payment from the SCHIP administrator might come, 2 or 3 months later. And then over 5 years, the addition, it's 10% of the incentive over 5 years. That money is paid to us. So, and that funds the capital cost to install the project. So we put out the money in the beginning and install the project. And then over 5 years, and then the SCHIP incentive, half of the SCHIP money comes in within that first year, within a couple months of permission to operate. And then over the next 5 years, what's called a performance-based incentive, the way that the incentive is arranged, it's to ensure that the battery is operating and providing the types of grid services that the state of California wants to see. The policy theory here is that with distributed generation like this, it does two things. One, it saves the host customer money, and then also reduces strain on the grid at certain times of peak load. So that's the sort of policy philosophy around the SCHIP. But to answer your specific question, that's how it's financed, and we are able to handle the operations and maintenance for a full 10 years without any cost to your organization, and that's because of the incentive from the state of California. Alice, if you wouldn't mind going back 2 slides, I just want to emphasize what it means to be.
Hey, Mark, I just want to make sure, does that answer your question? I want to make sure we don't leave that without making sure we answered the question.
Primarily it does. I just would be curious at the end of that 10 years when it's no longer potentially financed, maybe due to other issues with the state or whatever, then what type of money would have to go out to retain, and also the life of the battery. How long does one of these batteries last before it needs to be replaced?
Yes, no problem. And by the way, I'm just trying to be brisk, but please, anyone interrupt me, and if I didn't adequately answer your question.
The reason I'm asking all these questions is that I know that we need to make a decision because the money runs out very quickly. And so, I'm asking a lot of questions so that hopefully we can understand if we make a decision to go forward with this.
No problem whatsoever. And happy to stay as long as you can. So the answer to your question is that what we're doing right now, and for clarity, what we're doing right now is we together are putting in an application to secure our spot in the queue for this incentive before it runs out. PG&E was sold out in October. SDG&E was sold out in January. And when I say sold out, I mean for this explicit allocation under the SCHIP equity resiliency, that was, so SCE still has some money left, but it's going quickly. I would be surprised if it's still, I would be shocked if it's still available this time next month. Let me put it that. And it might be before the end of May, kind of thing. So I don't mean to put a high pressure situation. It's really not my intent. I just want to be plain that we are watching it just sort of decline in this, and the other 2 IOU service territories have already sold out of the facility of this particular category. And when I say this category, there are certain requirements in order to be eligible. It needs to, and it's on the screen right here. I won't reread it, but you qualify as you're a critical facility as defined by the state of California. It's in a high fire threat area, and it's an eligible community as defined by the California Public Utility Commission as a disadvantaged community. So again, I'm just following the criteria, and these facilities qualify.
Right.
So I think, Alice, if we could, and again, please interrupt me, anyone, if I'm not adequately answering the question. By the way, I want to make sure, back to the life of the project, I didn't mean to inadequately. So the lifespan of a battery, it's warranted for 10 years. We expect the battery may last up to 15 years. Batteries do degrade over time every year. But my expectation is that, and this is an industry standard expectation, that there will still be life in the battery after 10 years. The contract that, what I meant to say earlier is that what we're doing is we're getting our spot into the queue. After this, we will be negotiating with Johnny and others to use the same contract that we've been using in other locations. And that is the point where the organization commits to the commercial arrangement. And you'll see in that contract, no surprises in terms of there's no upfront money and there's no costs for the 10 years of maintenance. But in that contract, there will be some language around things like insurance and typical, but it'll also talk about what happens at the end of term. And at the end of term, we will pay to have the battery removed unless you would like to take ownership of the battery, in which case you would take over the responsibility for the commissioning and decommissioning at the end, and then also the O&M after year 10. So, but it's in your control whether you want to make that decision at that point. Does that help answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
No problem. Alice, let's go to slide number 10. I don't want to overdo it, but I want to just emphasize here this concept of no payments, and again, it's because of the structure of the incentive level from the state of California. So we're making all the upfront, for clarity, we're making all the upfront cash deposits. We will develop, construct, and own and operate the battery. In terms of the interconnection, that's our responsibility. In terms of the design, what we typically do is we have our design firms put together CD30s, construction drawing 30s, excuse me, and then we'll work with Johnny and others on the appropriate staff team members to make sure that everybody is on board with how we're configuring the facility. And then we would advance to the next stage of design. And then we would have a proper kickoff before the construction begins. So we'll be following a somewhat methodical process when we get to the next step, which is beginning the design, beginning the interconnection. But the first step is to get ourselves into the SJIP queue. In terms of the next slide, the sizes and duration, these are the sizes of the projects that we are recommending going forward. There is a typo here where it says system, it says 3060s. It's actually 3077. So that's on us. The energy, there's two different models. What 3077 versus 3060 means is that the inverter size is 30 kW, and it's when it's a 60, it's 60 kWh. So it's a 2-hour system, but it's actually the 3077 has more duration of battery
life. Battery life, yeah.
Thank you.
Is it a lot more?
Well, it's a little bit more. It's 30 instead of 60, it's 77. But three of them, it's 17 times 3, so it's a favorable typo, if you will. But that's what that is. I will make a little nuanced. On site number 2, the 4022 north end. The reason why we have the inverter size is effectively 90 kW. And the peak load is only 42. It's because of the inrush current. We've done some analysis along with, Johnny helping us sort it out, that in order to start the pumps, we need a certain inverter size. So that's why the systems are sized in the way we have. We factored in both the load data that then also the inrush current, because we need enough kW to get things moving at the facility itself. In terms of the next slide, the locations, these are the two locations, and the next slide is the next steps. I already sort of did a voiceover around this, but let me walk through it again, because I want to be thorough and make sure that everybody's that we're all communicating here, because we'll be working as partners. The first step is to get the SGIP application in, and at the same time, we'd like to execute a non-binding MOU, which is just a 2-page document, but that basically
just basically says if you don't get funding, then the project doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's right. That's the MOU. That's as simple as it is. So, and then the only other thing I want to say is on this slide is that within 90 days of submitting the SGIP application, we ought to put together the contract between the district and GSR. That gives us time. There's no reason to rush that right now. This is not an approval of the contract. This is an approval to submit the application. So we will be back with the contract together, staff and us from GSR.
And that will address the question of what happens at the end of the life. It'll go into termination, payments if there's that type of thing. And we can go into that once we get the contract. That's the bulk of the presentation. You could flip to the other side. I mean, this is kind of how the electrical configuration we'll be using through these energy reports. This is how we designed it on a preliminary basis, and we will be doing a site visit and taking some specifications in terms of where the equipment might be located and whatnot between the period of after the SGIP application and before the contract is signed, and that will all be written. And that's really the prepared presentation, but happy to answer any other questions.
Does all of this need to go on a cement slab?
That's an interesting question. I expect so, unless we are comfortable with the seismic stability of the location, or possibly if there's space on an existing, like the existing foundation at the facility. But the answer is generally yes. If there's an existing foundation, we can attack, sort of squeeze into. But generally, yes, we need to have, but that's covered by us.
So
we do have a sizable building, rather new booster site that's got plenty of room inside it, which would make security good so people didn't steal the battery. So if you looked at that and decided it would meet your needs, that would be a possibility too.
That would be great. I mean, that's preferable.
Cool.
But that's only on one site though, right, Johnny?
Yeah, Wolf Tank, we'd have to look at the building because the building isn't even up yet. When it gets put up, then we'll know how much we could put in there, but we could also maybe attach it to the outside of the building. But so just well 5 is the only one that I'm sure of, but what Wolf Tank, we'll have to look at it.
Yeah, my concern would be theft and vandalism.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, we'll definitely want to protect against that. And I think a site, you know, we'll confirm that with the site visit, maybe some options we, you know, would appreciate it. Well, obviously we'll have a chaperone when we do that, but maybe we could brainstorm a little bit to ensure that we don't have any issues.
And do these batteries need to be indoors? I mean, if we have to put them outdoors, do we have to build another roof over it? We get
Yeah. There is an outdoor solution. It would basically look like a container. You know, essentially a container that, you know, on the back of a truck. So that's kind of what it would look like if it was outside. It would need to be protected from the elements. We prefer the indoor installation, but we can do either way.
Mark, this is Dee Jaspar. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I just don't want to jump into this too early with questions that some of the directors may have more questions, but I do have a question or two once the board members are, I think, satisfied with the answers to their questions.
No, go ahead, Dee. You've got the floor. Go ahead and ask
Okay.
your questions.
A couple of things is that occurs to me. One is, what's the footprint of the equipment, Mark? What does it take space-wise? Are we talking 10 by 10, 10 feet by 10 feet, or 12 feet by? You know, what's the footprint of this equipment?
Yes, Alice, could you please flip to the final slide? Again, this is going to be the L77. Essentially, what's happened, the L3077. What's happened is the battery technology has become more energy dense. So we want to use the latest, I guess, latest model, for lack of a better word. But in the event, the dimensions are going to be as it reads right here. So you'll see the inches right there. These are heavy, and you know, when we're talking about 3 units, you know, we're approaching, it's over 2 tons, approaching 3. So that's why, to the earlier question about concrete pad, et cetera. Yeah.
So Mark, each one of these units requires roughly 4 feet by 9 feet of space. Is that correct?
Okay, so did you say 9 feet?
Well, I'm looking at the 80 inches. Is the 80 inches?
Well, the height is 9 feet, Dee.
Okay, I got it.
So the depth and width is 40 inches by 24. So
got it.
Yeah.
So that's 4 feet by 2 feet. So we've got 3 of these. So it's 12 feet by 6 feet. Something like that, right?
Yeah, that's right. There's a little bit of spacing in between, not much. But it's
Okay, just kind of thinking about the Wolf Bank site and how much room we do have up there.
And how many batteries are required at each site?
We're planning 3. 3 at each.
3 at each site. Okay.
And that's why you might kindly recall on row number 2, you know, the reason why we don't just have 2 is because we need to have enough inverter capacity to handle the inrush current. It actually works well for the district because there's just more duration. But it's our expectation that the SCHIP administrator will allow for all 3 to help accommodate the inrush current.
Okay.
Another question. Can I go ahead?
I have another one, but go ahead, Lisa. Is that you?
So I was just also concerned about possible liability issues if it is inside, if it was able to fit inside or on our slab and inside our building, but it sounds like your company would be covering the liability generally, but then if it's inside our building and something happened, I'm a little concerned about how the liability works.
Yes, so we'll want to make sure that everybody's comfortable with those provisions in the contract. But you should expect that we are responsible, and we will have the insurance that makes you comfortable. I'm not suggesting that you sign the contract based on what I just said, but what I am just responding to is that is going to be in the contract. The contract is not being approved right now, but when the contract is approved, yeah.
And one more question, and then D, I'll pass it back over or whatever. Would the contract and the MOU need to be in place before we put ourselves on the list? So, if we're interested in going forward, but it takes us a little while to, have our attorney go over the contract and all of that, and I know he's pretty swamped right now. So would that all need to be signed before we were able to put ourselves in the queue, or would we be able to put ourselves in the queue with an understanding that we would be going forward, but that we would need to look over both the contract and make sure that the MOU was, seen by our attorney?
Yeah, well, it's mostly the latter. In other words, we're not trying to do the contract right now. We would like to do the MOU, but that's a 2-page document that's non-binding. So it's kind of a mutual understanding to confirm we're all on the same page. So we do ask to get the MOU in place, but again, it's a 2-page document. The contract is a proper, couple dozen pages, but we're not trying to get that done right now.
Yeah, so just to kind of say it, MOU, we prefer to have it before we submit the application. Contract, 90 days after approval. Within those 90 days, then we can do the contract. We just want to get in the queue right now. The contract does not need to be done before we get into the queue.
Okay.
And by the way, that's the same model we've used with other folks. And the reason being, just plainly, is we didn't want to walk through all of the contract because, people want to be thorough, attorneys reviewing, and then by the time the contract reviews are all done, then the queue's full. So that's why we have this sort of 2-step. And this is exactly what we've done literally dozens of times with this SCHIP equity resiliency program. This is our business. So that's the model.
Okay. Dee, you want to ask your next question?
Yeah, Lisa touched on this, and I think it's worth exploring a little bit, at least at this point in time. And that is, what happens at 10 years? It wasn't clear to me. We get through the 10-year period, where our batteries are starting to run out. We may get a few more years, maybe not. But what happens there? If we have to replace the batteries and we decide that, we want to sever our relationship, not that we would, but if that were the case, if we want to keep the system and maintain it, what would, do you have any idea what the cost to the district would be to buy a battery or 3 batteries or 3 of those, systems? What are we looking at in 10 years?
Yeah, so let me try to answer the question and let me know if this does not adequately address the question. At the end of the term, we will be responsible to remove the battery from the premises. In the contract that you'll see, there is a 5-year extension, an optional extension that the district may take but at that point, the district would be paying us to handle the operations and maintenance for that additional years 11 through 15. So think of it as it's a 10-year project that can be extended for 5 years at your option. If you don't want to extend it, then we'll just take the battery out of the ground and take it away. In terms of taking it away and in placing a new battery technology in at year 10, that would also be an option that the district might want to explore. but it's really your prerogative whether you want to keep it in the ground running for another, 11, years 11 through 15, or you want it to go away.
Well, here's where I'm getting at, or what I'm getting at, Mark, and that is what say they have to replace the batteries or decide that they want to keep the system in service after 10 years and you need to buy new batteries. How much does a battery cost right now? How much does it cost right now?
Well, it's approximately all in. A good proxy is what the incentive amount that we're claiming is. So that is in the, I can't, John, you'll have to help me whether the actual RRF application, the reservation request form, is in the board materials or not. But that's also okay. So that could be shared. I mean, that has to be signed by the. Are you still there?
Yes, we're here.
Oh, something happened with my screen.
No, she just took away the slides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to look for the RRF, but I didn't want everybody to have to go through my computer logic.
Oh, okay. So anyway, we'll give you to the gentleman that asked that question. I have a very good proxy, which is the value of the incentive. I mean, that's basically what it costs to put a project like this in the ground. Now, 10 years from now, battery prices will come down. By how much, we don't know. And we would be able to use probably some of the same power electronics. So it will be, I would say, materially less expensive than what it's costing to install right now for two reasons. The battery cell prices are just going to decline as more and more of these are put out into the world. And then secondly, some of the electrical infrastructure, the meters, the wiring, the conduit, all of that stuff has a design life that lasts 10 years.
It's about for Chimino Trail, it's 218,000.
218,000. Okay, that's for which one? Which one, Al?
That's well 5.
Terry, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you.
Okay, 218,000 for one setup, one system, Wolf Tank or Well 5. Is that roughly what you're saying, Alice?
That's roughly what it's going to cost to install this now.
Okay.
And then, like I said in the end, and when I say installed, what I mean is that's everything. I mean, that's the equipment itself, the financing costs, the design costs, the interconnection, everything it takes to get the project in the ground and work.
Okay, great. One other question, and then I'll be, then I'm done. Who at Irvine Ranch do you work with?
Jose Zepeda.
Okay. We do a lot of work with Irvine Ranch Water District. We're civil engineers and we do a number of projects with them here in the county. And we know Paul Cook, Paul Weghorst, and a few of the folks there.
Yeah, Jose's on Paul's well aware of the projects that we did.
Okay, good. Paul Weghorst or Paul Cook?
Yeah. You play horseshoes with him? Is that what you said? Yeah, so at the previous company, Advanced Microgrid Solutions, I was the person responsible and accountable to get the projects in the ground at all of Paul Cook's facilities where we installed batteries. I think there was, I want to say there was 6, but I think we did 6 projects with IRW.
It looks like I have quite a few with them.
6. Yeah, we had 6.
Okay.
One of them, by the way, I'll just, if I may, because I don't get a chance to do this very much. That one of them was a 2,500 kW 6-hour system. So it's a pretty big project, biggest in North America for behind the meter at the time.
Wow.
that was fun. That was a fun one. That was right there at their Mickelson headquarters.
Okay. All right. You don't mind if we call and talk to a couple of those guys?
No problem.
Okay, great, great.
I have a question
Yes, Director Gibson, go ahead.
about the maintenance on these things. Are you going to be, do you need to come up here and go to the sites on a regular basis?
Yeah, it's a good question. So battery technology of this sort, I view maintenance as in sort of two categories: preventative and corrective. The preventative maintenance is very minor. I mean, we have to come out and check the filters and change lubricant. I mean, it might not even be once a year. The updates to the batteries software platform is done over the Ethernet. So that's done somewhat seamlessly. It's not unlike, our computers when there's a software update on our computers. If there's a corrective maintenance, then that would be, something that we would, have to come out on a sort of.
Would our crew notice it? Would our crew be calling you? Would Johnny be calling you and saying, hey, we got so-and-so trouble? Or are you going to see trouble on your computer? I guess I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, the latter. So we'll be monitoring things remotely.
Okay.
But we will, before construction, we'll have a kickoff meeting, and we would invite the right people. We would invite you to invite the right people from the maintenance staff to understand anything questions they have about the technology, and then sort of a schedule of when we can come for preventative maintenance, planned maintenance would be another way of saying that. And we would just coordinate it so it's not burdensome. But there's no moving parts. This is not like a wind turbine from my previous business where the maintenance was pretty regular. These are they just sort of sit there. And the other thing I'd just like to say about the way that the batteries work is that unlike a generator that sits on site until you need it for backup, the battery not only does that, but the battery is also exercising throughout the day. So it's charging at times of low cost power from the grid. Someday, well, I don't want to do that. So it's charging from the grid. What I was going to say, by the way, is someday more and more we'll have solar that's charging the battery. But as first things first, the battery charges from the grid, and at times of low cost power, and discharges at times of high cost power, and in that way produces the energy savings that accrue to the district. So there's sort of two functions that the batteries provide.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion if we want to go forward with this.
Actually, I have one more question. So
Okay.
you were saying you were saying the MOU is non-binding. So if we have an understanding, we sign the MOU, our engineer has some discussions about this and finds that there's some kind of issue or whatever, we would be able to be in the queue, but it gives us time to so we can make a decision basically tonight to look at the MOU and go forward with that. We could, it would be non-binding, that's correct. And then we would still have time for our engineer to be able to talk to the people he was mentioning.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so and the MOU wasn't included in our packet, correct? Or we're going to sort of hash out an MOU now, and that would, because I'm just concerned about, because if we wait until our next board meeting, which is the 27th, that doesn't give us a whole lot of time to get in the queue. I'm assuming that the funding's probably going to be just about gone, if it's gone.
Well, let me just suggest waiting till the next month's board meeting would be a risky decision if the district is interested in the project.
Our next board meeting is in 2 weeks.
Okay.
We could put it on our next regular board meeting. We have a planning meeting and we could insert it there.
Okay.
And we
Or
The only problem is he thinks that the funding will be gone by this time next month, which means we would be down to like the last week or so of funding running out.
Right, that's why I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Lisa.
And any kind of MOU that is spelled out, that you didn't send sort of like a template for that in our board packet, correct?
I'm going to ask Alice, could you comment on that?
Yeah, it's not in your packet. I was gonna be sending that along with the application to Johnny if this was approved. As Mark said, it's about 2 pages. I understand all attorneys need to take a look at it. He could take a look at it and we could go ahead. And as Mark said, it is non-binding. We're taking the risk because we're going to have to put a deposit down with once that application is approved or accepted, I should say, accepted. So we're really taking the risk.
So if the board decides they would like to proceed, maybe you could do your normal type of vote where, assuming that Alan approves the MOU, that the board president can sign it, and then we could get that early next week, hopefully, and get it over to Alan and see if he could give us approval before our next meeting. Lisa?
I'm sorry, you're specifically asking me?
Well, I don't know. Nobody was chiming in, so I thought I would ask you too.
I mean, yes, that's possible to do. I know that we probably need 2 things. We need our engineer, I mean, well, more than 2, but 2 initially to probably be okay to at least get in the queue with us, which would be that we need our attorney to look at the MOU as well as the board to look at the MOU. And so, I think if we're interested in going forward with this, I think we would need to do a special meeting. It would be a little bit of an investment for the town, but if we were able to be a part of this, if we're ready to go forward, it would give us a little bit more time to think about it, maybe a couple more days, or in the beginning of next week, middle of next week. I think it would also allow us to go over the MOU before it goes to the attorney, and it would also be worth it if we were going to recoup that money from the use of this if the project is approved. So, I would suggest, rather than, I think we could take sort of a conditional vote that we want to, by setting up a special meeting that would tell, that would say that we were interested in going forward, but I think we probably need a special meeting rather than just doing a vote to go forward.
So you want to have a special meeting next Thursday on the 20th?
Well, just next week before, it might need to be earlier than that, but yes, I think that
Well,
would.
I mean, you have to give Alan time. I mean, the question is, when would you, Alice, send over the MOU?
We would really need to look at it before we give it to Alan also, to make sure that's something that we're comfortable with. So we would we would want to be comfortable with it, then send it to our attorney to see if there were any issues. And at the same time, maybe D could be talking to whoever he was interested in talking to and mulling over whether we could actually do this within the, within the footprint of our existing buildings, or if it would need to be a separate building, and are we able to do that? And are there any issues with like NEPA, CEQA, anything like that? I mean, I know it's on existing land, but if it has.
So the answer is no, based on the 100+ projects we've developed. We did have a couple instances where the self-permitting agency had a letter that this was exempt from CEQA, but these are not subject to CEQA.
Okay. So yeah, I would suggest, just to give us a little bit of time, that, I mean, maybe we even do the meeting on Tuesday if we had the ability to do
Yeah,
that.
but how are you sure that Alan's going to be able to look at that? I mean, even if she sent it over tomorrow, you're talking Monday, us going over the MOU, and then you have to send it to Alan and make sure that he can get it done and back to us by Tuesday night.
No, I was saying that we would be able to approve it on Tuesday and then send it to Alan. And then we would be able to just, at that point, it could just be signed. We would make a conditional approval based on whether our attorney was okay with it. Just giving us time to look at the MOU as a board, because we can't really look at it separately and make a decision.
Okay, and so I'm just trying to get this straight. We could have a meeting where we approve it, we send it to Alan, but once we've approved it, we can get in the queue, right? We don't need for Alan to okay the MOU before we get in the queue, right?
No, we do. We need the MOU okayed if possible, but we don't need a contract.
Oh.
So I'm just suggesting that to give ourselves a couple of days to make a decision, to be able to read. I don't even know if all the directors actually read this thoroughly, but we did. It's pretty much what we got was the presentation. I think we need to be able to see the MOU. We need to be able to vote on the MOU. I think it's difficult to vote to move ahead without, seeing that and making sure that we have the same understanding, and any other discussion that we would need to do after, mulling it over. And then I don't think, I think we could send it to, okay, I'm sorry. Somebody was texting me at the same time, and it just totally interrupted my train of thought. Yeah. So I would say that we need a couple of days to mull it over, that we could do a meeting, that if we go forward, that money would potentially be recouped if this is approved. And if not, then, if there were any issues, then it cost us, $500 or a little bit more than that.
I don't think that's a big issue. I think, we want to have the meeting. I mean, what are you going to do that Tuesday night?
What about Tuesday in the daytime? Would that give us even more time to get it to the attorney?
Well,
I don't know that I'd be available on Tuesday.
Well,
I don't think, Director Kelling, are you available in the daytime? No, not till evening, correct?
Terry, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. Tuesday would work.
So in the day, the night?
Either, any time.
I would like to attend.
Well, it'll be on Zoom, so it'll be a special meeting. It would be put out. so you can attend.
Okay,
Anyone can attend.
this is very interesting. I am appreciating this.
Thank you, Terry. So when are you available, Director Garcia?
I'm not sure. I don't know my calendar set, but I can, hold on a second. Let me pull it up. Tuesday, actually, I don't have anything planned as of yet, so I'll work my schedule around whatever works for the meeting.
So what time do you want to do the meeting? Throw out a time to somebody.
Me personally,
Yes.
1 o'clock right after lunch.
I'm just gonna recommend, and this is just me, but I'm gonna recommend that we do the meeting at a later hour so that people who work, who might want to attend a special meeting, who may have something to say about this, would be able to do that. I mean, I think that generally evening is more accessible to a greater amount of the people in this community than afternoon.
That's perfectly fine with me.
That is true.
That's fine with me.
We pretty much got everybody who ever joins the meeting on tonight.
So what time are we talking about? 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock,
I would say 6.
6 o'clock? Okay. So let's do 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And that gives us time to put out whatever, that we need to put out our agenda so that people are notified. And it also gives us a little bit of time to mull it over, and it also gives Dee, our engineer, a little bit of time to talk to some other people about their experience with this.
Okay. So what's the
6 o'clock
motion?
it is.
So
Are you able to do that, Tiffany? Since you're running our Zoom meeting?
Ooh, that is a very good point. Normally Tuesday evenings is my day to take my daughter to her lesson, but I can I can make it work. Yeah. No worries.
Okay.
That's because you're the best.
All right. So
I'll go ahead and move that we schedule a special meeting for the night of the 18th, starting at 6 p.m.
to go over this MOU.
MOU, absolutely.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Director Gibson seconded. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelling. Director Kelling. Did we lose Director Kelling? We lost Director Kelling. Okay, Director Nyman's an aye. Director Schoenberg.
I'm an aye.
Okay, so
And I might also just add that if we have some other pressing items, which I think we might, that we could also add those to that special meeting. We just need to talk about that at the end for the agenda.
okay. So 401, one absent. Motion carried.
Just
Okay.
just as a word of note, that if we try to add stuff, I think isn't there an issue with doing a meeting with such a short notice?
No, it's as long as it's relevant that we need to do it. I mean, we can't just add normal agenda items. No, as long as a special meeting has a purpose and is agendized and out there for the public, it just needs to be a 24 hours advance notice. Correct?
I think the Brown Act is 3 days, and you fall within that.
That's not correct for a special meeting.
Okay,
That's for a regular meeting, but for special meeting, it's 24 hours.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay,
Am- am-
moving,
I just want to make sure, is that incorrect, Tiffany? Since
You
you're our,
are correct. 24 hours for a special meeting.
okay, so we have time to also look if there's anything else that would be pressing to put on there that we would need to have. And I know there's an issue, and the reason I'm saying this is the other thing that may need to be on there is that portal issue with JPIA, which is due by the 28th, and we're not going to have time at the next meeting, which is on the 27th. So even though we will have a vote on it tonight, it would give us time to discuss that a little bit more thoroughly as well.
okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, moving on to number 17, discussion vote on billboard lease agreement with Mountain Community Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. We'll be, just real quick, we'll be sending that MOU by 10 a.m. in the morning tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for your presentation.
thank you.
I'm looking for, where is that agreement in our packet? I don't see it.
I put the letter
Oh,
from the Chamber of Commerce in the packet for this agenda item. If you recall, we read it as a public comment and the board
Right.
requested further discussion on an agenda.
okay. Okay, so what's the discussion here? What are we discussing? About not replacing our logo for a year? Is that what? the
Yes, I believe that was the reason why a board member asked us to put it on the agenda.
I think the issue at hand was that we weren't just addressing our logo. We were addressing all of the various items that are up there. I think our logo was just one of the issues. And I think there were also just some other issues that had come up in that discussion. So I think that was why we wanted to be able to, I mean, I wasn't the one that voted to address this letter, but I mean, that made the motion, but I do believe that that there were multiple reasons why it was asked that we address it.
Well, just as a point of information, after the last meeting, me and BJ, we met and we walked the downtown project. And I pointed out all the flower beds and the sprinkler system and the lights and everything that they're responsible to take care of. So he has a clear understanding of that.
What about the, was it vandalism or theft from the signage themselves that he wanted us to contact insurance? Did he? Or was he just informing us that he had turned it into his insurance?
I'm not sure how they paid for it, but initially that's how this discussion started months and months ago. Was they thought that it was our responsibility. And then when I explained to him and he reviewed the contract, he realized that it was his responsibility. So they went ahead and fixed it, I believe twice. BJ can correct me if I'm wrong.
You got to unmute yourself, BJ.
Yeah, doing that just now. Thank you. The initial contact was just to report the theft and to see maybe get some type of help or assistance. We paid for it out of our pocket, and the contractor was nice to us and gave us a break.
I hate to interrupt you, but I hate to interrupt you.
Responsibility.
Well, actually, each time that this is brought up, you forget what you sent me the list of things that you guys expected us to do, and that was one of them. So it wasn't that you were just trying to ask for help. You thought that those were all our responsibilities, and they weren't. So I pointed that out to you. So we need to start on that aspect of it.
Okay, so the property and the structure is owned by you, correct?
It's owned by
No.
us, but it's leased to you with your responsibility to take care of all of it and provide insurance for anything that happens there.
And we're supposed to be additionally insured by you.
Yes.
And we insure
Right.
the ground
Right.
and the gate.
Right, so we're responsible for weed abatement on that property and access issues. We own the actual property, but we're not responsible for the maintenance of the sign itself, and we're not responsible for theft. The chamber took out a policy on that where we're named additionally insured. That's supposed to be kept up every year, and it's all stipulated in that original contract. So I think that's why that contract is very important, because a lot of this was stipulated at the very beginning when and a lot of this came from the county itself. They had some very specific ideas of how they wanted this all to be approached in order to turn that property over to us in order for those billboards to be put in place. And they paid for the billboard initially. So we did not pay for that. They paid for that, but they had stipulations. And part of it was to take care of, the whole reason they put this in place was to get rid of a whole plethora of signs that went all the way down Fraser Mountain Road that they wanted removed. And that was all county issues. And then it was also to maintain the whole streetscape beautification project, which they didn't have they didn't have a budget item to maintain that.
Thank you. Yes. Well, irregardless of all that, we still took care of it. Again, it was just reaching out at the time. Those details, who's responsible or not, I wasn't interested in pointing fingers. I'm just seeking to get help one way or the other. And since then, Johnny, we made that clear, and in signing the other contract and having read through it, I understand that. So unless there was something else on the actual theft, I took care of it, made the reports myself to the sheriffs, et cetera. So does anybody have any questions on that topic?
Yeah, I just wanted to make
so,
sure.
Yeah, we took care of that part.
Are we additionally insured on your insurance policy for the signage?
Yes, you are.
Terrific.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we've already approved the contract. So the issue comes back to the signage as far as, have we already discussed what needs to be fixed, Johnny, or when it's going to be fixed? Does that, I mean,
Well, it's just the peeling stickers on the water company sign and a few others. And it was, last year before the last sign was put up, we assumed that those would be corrected when they came out. But when they came out and put up a new sign, nothing was done with the existing signs. So now we're told that it's going to be another year until the next time that you have a sign guy. And it looks pretty shabby having, peeling logos on the sign. And I mean, it doesn't seem like it would cost that much to peel off a sticker and put another one up there.
Would you like me to address that?
Yeah,
sure.
Please talk.
Okay, thank you. So I don't know your definition of what cost is, but it does cost money for them to come out with the truck and take. They don't just peel a new sticker on. A new sign is manufactured at their office or their plant, whatever, and then a new one comes out. Now, we did talk about this before. I told you the way that works is we don't do it sign by sign. We try to wait for a couple of jobs to come in, so it's more cost effective as opposed to have a truck come out every single time for just one sign. I offered, if you guys, and also note, please, that we are aware it's our responsibility. And I told my board I went to go take a picture of it. It is peeling. And I did offer and asked your board if you would like to take care of that specifically for you. And you said it's okay. Next time we have someone sign work done, we'll take care of yours as well. And again, I think the reiteration again is to, if there's no work to be done on the sign from other members who have advertisement there, there's no reason for a them to come out unless you want yours changed now, which I'll take care of. It's our responsibility. But maybe that wasn't clear. Maybe our Zoom got cut off. But until another job comes along, then I would like to do it all at once. Now, the billing cycle for our members was in April because of COVID. And economic crunches because of all the national economic shutdown. Several people have fallen behind. We're going to work with them to try to get a payment up, or their sign is going to come down. And I've talked to 2 out of the 3 people who are delinquent on that. If they can't do it, then their sign will come down. There's other people who want the space. And at that time, I will let you guys know to let you know it will be taken care of. So if you can just be patient on that. Again,
Well,
I know that
I
we're
think,
responsible,
BJ,
and I'll
I
offer
think-
again.
BJ, I think the issue comes back to, I don't think the board has a problem with us being patient on you fixing like our logo and fixing what needs to be fixed with another job. The issue comes to, we don't want it taking another year to be done. If it's going to take more than like say 4 to 6 months, then it's at some point you just have to do it because it's ridiculous for it to continue to look so bad. And I think
Well,
that's
even
what the issue
even
is.
I think even 6 months is outlandish, because before the last renewal, it was already there. And it's not just our sign. There's other signs that also need to be fixed. So, maybe 4 months, but 6 months is way long, considering when this was first brought up and when we first mentioned it. It's going to be going
So
on.
as a time frame, what does the board think? I want some thoughts from the other directors.
Yeah.
Because I think, like I said, I think it, we can't wait another, like I said, 6 months or a year for it to be corrected. At some point it needs to be done. And like Johnny says, there are others. So it seems like they all should be done at the same time.
Well,
I think that's the important point. That we're not just complaining about our sign. That we notice that other signs are peeling as well. We're not saying, gee, take care of us. We're saying, hey, the signage is looking a little shabby. Some of the signs are peeling.
And I think an important note would to be that, we already agreed on the contract. The reason why we only made it for a year and not, a longer period of time was that we have some concerns. I think that it definitely needs to be addressed before our next contract runs out. So I would hope that, that we have that addressed. And I do understand that, that some people didn't pay and that maybe there's not as much income being generated from that signage right now. And I haven't personally gone up closely. I can see that there's a little bit of peeling on some of the signs. I haven't taken a really close up look at it, but what I would say is that, we had an issue with the contract being a longer contract because of it not being taken, because of a lot of the portions of the contract not being fulfilled. So I would just stress that, I'm not okay saying a particular amount of time. Other than I would stress that it, if the contract comes up again and this isn't fixed, then I think that we need to have a much longer discussion.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, but then you're talking, if you're waiting till the next contract, you're talking a year from now, is what you're saying, Director Schoenberg. Because we just
Well, a year
signed.
from January, January.
Yeah.
I'm saying that if it's not addressed at that point, which is January, correct? If it's not addressed at that before that point, like in by December or something, before the contract comes up for renewal, that there's some real issues. You know, when we first initially put this into place, we put all these stipulations because we were concerned about things just like this. So I would say that we would need to have a much deeper discussion about whether this contractual arrangement is working or not.
Okay. So what you're saying is before the next contract. So basically, BJ, we definitely need it before December. Is that what the board is saying?
Your
guess so.
board or my board?
No, I'm talking to my board.
Our board.
Is that what the agreement is? Director Garcia?
So let me.
Yeah,
may I-
that's, hopefully it gets done before then, but that would be like our cutoff and start looking for a new tenant.
And you know, there's multiple parts to it too. So it's, you know, with the streetlights, so, you know, there were issues with the streetlights, there was issues with the maintenance of the plants, there's issues with the actual signs and, you know, and I know BJ, you know, we originally had done this contract with a different president of the board, so of the Chamber of Commerce, I mean, so you know, I understand that understanding may not have been clear. I think at this point it's really clear. Yeah, well, the 1 second. So I think at this point it's really clear. So we would just hope that all of this stuff is starting to kind of fall into place. And then that gives us a chance to, you know, say we really need some of these things to fall into place before we would need a longer discussion if it hasn't at the next contract renewal.
So if I can jump in, I appreciate that, that you understand that. I've already arranged with a local contractor to replace and upgrade all the street lights in June 15th. He's coming out to do the work. So that will be taken care of. He's going to upgrade us to LED lights, which will be brighter and last longer. So that's in place. As far as other things on top of this for the billboard specifically, let me recommend this to you guys, that contingent upon whether these people are going to be able to make payments to the chamber or not and decide not to continue, at which there will be whoever's next in line to go on will be we'll have a work order go out and take care of their sign and yours at the same time. If that doesn't happen and there's no change, we will still offer to replace your sign. And if there's other members who want to upgrade their sign as well, we'll make that offer to them. And again, that will probably be within the next month, give the people another couple weeks after that. Let's say in about 6 weeks, I can give you an answer which direction, what's going to happen. How does that sound?
If I could say something real quick. So if they already paid for their year, if their sign is peeling, they wouldn't have to vote on upgrading, right? Because to make it look nice, you would just fix their signs anyway, right?
I'm going to look at the contracts because they actually own the sign. We get the artwork and they actually own it. So if they want to replace it, they have to pay for it themselves. But I need to check on that, the contract to be exactly correct. That's why I can't force them to replace their signs. I needed to work with them. So, but I'll find that out for you and let you know within that 6 week time period when I have a better window of what's going to happen. if
Yeah,
that's
because
okay for you and your board.
because that's something you may want to address in future contracts if that's the case. Because in order to advertise and have it look attractive, you seem like they would be responsible, or somebody would be responsible for keeping the whole signage project looking neat instead of falling apart. So that might be something else to discuss
That's
later
a
on.
good point. That's a good point. And if not, we can add that stipulation into the new contracts for newer members. So thank you.
Okay, well, that sounds good, BJ. So then you're gonna let us know in like 6 weeks or so where we stand, and I think that's.
Yes, sir.
I think that's
Yep.
fine. That's fine.
Thank you, BJ.
One way or the other, we'll get you guys taken care of. And again, we know it's our responsibility. So
Right.
I appreciate the leeway.
Yeah, okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
we appreciate you taking care of that. Thank you, BJ. Thank you for doing that.
All right, I'm gonna head out. You guys have a good night.
All right, you too.
Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Thank
Okay, moving on to number 10, unfinished business. Discussion vote on Fraser Park, Lake of the Woods Consolidation Project, planning project. We're starting it at 7:49. Okay, a discussion vote on test wells and license fees. Okay, so D, just to update you, when we get to the financials, we have cut the 2 checks for $5,000 to be paid to Saya and the other one to the Wainwright French property. So those 2 checks have been cut. Basically, so my understanding, Dave, so we're paying for this right now out of our pocket, and then we will submit. How do we submit a bill? How do we submit to you that's going to have to be gone
It's
on
part-
for the
it's part-
to get reimbursement?
It's part of the claim, correct, Dave? Because
Yes,
the-
it's part of the claim, but I would need to see some kind of like receipt. Yeah, receipt for something to that effect.
So what, like a canceled check or the check or?
Invoice.
That person could, well, I don't know if you're going to be handing them the check or you're mailing them the check.
Yeah, I
Well-
could do that. I could personally schedule with both people to
couldn't hear me.
to deliver the checks and have them sign a receipt.
It would just, and you have and we also have a copy of the agreement with each of those parties too, right?
correct.
Right. We have the agreement, yes.
So I would just submit the agreement and a copy of the check written out to them with the receipt. I believe that would be adequate documentation that you did spend the money.
Okay, so what I'll do is, Johnny, is I'll go ahead and once those are signed, I'll leave them for you in the office.
Sounds good.
And
Thank you.
you can take care of getting those out.
But you will get a
Correct.
receipt. You will get a written receipt that they've received the check for such and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny will do that, yes.
Okay.
I would recommend that we write that out so that they just need to sign it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
If there's some special verbiage anybody would like in it, I would appreciate an email telling me what we should put in it.
Okay.
And then also as part of the treasury report, what I said I was going to mention each thing as it came up in the agenda. So I'm going to need to transfer money for that to the planning from the revenue. The check should be cut out of the Lake of the Woods planning.
so that's the problem right now, that those were cut out of our regular, they weren't cut off of the planning account.
Okay.
So that would mean that Linda would have to recut checks.
That's okay. Then Tiffany, can we just make sure that we track those adequately? And I mean, we have some other checks that didn't get cut, that cut out of revenue as well. So, but the money will then go into planning when we receive it. I'm just kind of saying this on the record, that the money would go into the planning when we receive it, because we'll be getting a check that goes to planning, and then I'll need to reimburse revenue.
Then you would, yeah, you would transfer to revenue. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. Okay. Okay, the contract for Johnson Drilling, we haven't seen anything. What's going on with that?
I talked to Alan today. He is going to get on it. I think there might have been a misunderstanding there. He reviewed the memorandum of understanding, or the agreement form, and got that out pretty hastily. But he said he would get right on the contract documents and get them out next week. So probably my fault. I think he probably understood that the priorities were different. So anyway, he's going to get on it.
So we're going to have to approve these contracts by the 27th. I mean, I mean, they're supposed to be starting drilling, the end of May.
Actually, it's looking like the end of May. Yeah, about then, end of May, first week in June.
And you folks have gotten approval from the state.
Well, they've looked at the contract documents, Dave. I haven't sent them the signed documents because we haven't signed them yet, but they've seen the contract documents and approved those.
So we're, Director Schoenberg, so we're having to look at those contracts before the next meeting, and we're going to have to approve it and sign it then?
Yeah, I'm hoping maybe we could get that from our attorney and look at it as part of that special meeting. I don't know, because it doesn't give us a whole lot of time if we have to do it all,
Well, I mean, you're talking the special meeting is Tuesday.
I know, but our attorneys had it for, so the issue is that the attorney has it right now, Dee, or we haven't gotten a contract from Johnson.
Oh, no, the attorney has it right now. Alan has it. And we spoke today, and he's going to get right on it. I'm guessing it won't be tomorrow, but I'm thinking probably the first couple of days next week.
Well, do you think you would be able to get that from him by the Tuesday special meeting at 6 p.m. so we could at least have it in hand and be able to look at it and discuss it?
I will give it my best shot to encourage that.
Yeah, we don't need the actual vote potentially until the following meeting, but we certainly need to look at it, and I'm a little worried that we might need the vote beforehand because it needs to be approved by the state, correct, Dave? So even though they've seen it without our actual signature on it, I mean, they still need a minute to be okay with that before we can actually proceed drilling, correct?
I believe so. I do not have the language in front of me. I have the funding agreement, but I don't have the language in front of me.
So yeah, I mean, if we have it, that would be helpful so that we can hopefully approve it either at that special meeting or at the next, or at the regular planning meeting, and get it to the state so that we can proceed with the project.
I'll move it ahead as fast as I can. Alan doesn't work for me, so
I know.
all I can do is and he is very, very busy. But I will make an effort to get that done as quickly as possible.
Maybe that would be better coming from us. Maybe Tiffany or Johnny could reach out to Alan and just let him know that, we're supposed to start the project at the end of this month, or worst case scenario, the beginning of next month, and that we need to have it approved at a board meeting and have it approved by the state. Maybe it would help to hear that from us rather than.
I think a call from Johnny might help, and just reiterate the timing and some of the issues that we're looking at.
I'll call him. I'll call him tomorrow.
I know Alan will he'll get on as quick as he can.
Okay. All right. Okay, discussion vote on engineering planning contract amendment. Didn't we approve this already?
No, we didn't. We had some contingencies that we needed Dee to take care of. It looked like all of that's there. For now, we don't need all the MSR details or MOU details or anything like for the budget, because this is just his contract. So, the stuff that he said he was going to change, which was the item under the hydrology report, hydrologist, it says the inspection.
On-site observation, evaluation, inspection, operation.
Correct. That's correct. The one issue that came up was that there are two different amounts quoted. There's the amount in the actual budget from the state for the test well drilling, and then D, you had a different amount. So that's a potential problem. I wasn't sure where where that amount that you had came from. And other than that, when I looked it over, it looked like everything else that we had asked for was there.
And D, I had sent the budget earlier. The budget we're using for the funding agreement for the pay requests has a total of, for the test well drilling, $261,400. And that was the price that we've had there. And that was based on the test well bid results and emails, correspondence that you've had with the district. But you had provided in your agreement budget $256,600.
Now, let me pull the document. I'm got it right here. Let me see there. The original Exhibit A, which should be directly from the funding agreement.
No, it's from the bids. The project bids that were called in last fall were $261,400 was the low bid for Johnson Drilling.
Right, because we went with the higher bid because of their technical.
Right. Well, I used that in the revised budget. The budget was revised, adjusted.
They made a mistake on their bid, and so the corrected amount is $256,600, and I can verify that by going back through. But yes, I see where the confusion is. Their bid amount, when we cross-check the numbers, and I pointed that out right away to their office manager, Leslie Rhodes, and she corrected their number by an email to me and said, yep, gee whiz, we made a mistake. And I said, that's fine. And the number is 256.6. So that's what the contract will be signed for, not the bid amount, which was
261,
It
400.
did wrong, incorrect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure the paperwork that we submit to the state is on the same, we're all in agreement on that. So I appreciate the update on the number. So
Mhm.
So
I would
then
just
that-
recommend the board
so-
adjust that numbers and take whatever savings and put it into contingency.
Yeah, and my exhibit B shows that, and I did use the 256.6, and then the difference there goes into contingency. That's under the revised exhibit B.
Yeah, we were just unclear about that, D, so I do see
Yeah.
where it shows that on exhibit A and then exhibit B, it shows the correct, and then does it show the corrected amount and the contingency for that?
Yeah, I put the difference in the contingency.
Okay, and then I'm of the belief or understanding that the other amounts that we will need to put in to the actual budget later with Lawrence can wait, like some of the SR stuff, all of that can wait until we have a better idea of what's going on with the test wells. So I'm okay with that, with
With
that.
the corrections.
Yeah, with the corrections here. So I would like to move that we, unless somebody else has something else that they saw, I didn't. So I would like to move that we go ahead and sign the amendment number 1. I guess we need to change the date on it, correct?
Let's see, what did I put on there? I think
April 23rd.
April 23rd is what I dated that. You want me to date that as of tonight, May 13th?
Probably.
Wait, Dave has something to say. Hold on.
I think you folks were also going to get approval from the state, from Lawrence on this, just like an email out to him saying, hey, here's the adjustments in the budget. We request your approval. I mean, you could approve it based on his approval or contingent upon his approval, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, I thought he already had approved that he hadn't approved that amount, the 20.
He hasn't approved. No, I think we didn't know about we didn't say anything about the change in the amount for the the actual test wells. So we need to reflect that, and because I think that changed the amount of the contingency slightly.
Yeah,
So the amount we given to Lawrence a couple weeks ago was different.
And also you're asking for $9,000 additional for legal costs?
Correct.
Okay.
Where's the legal cost?
It's not in Dee's paperwork, it's in the budget
Oh,
paperwork.
okay, yeah. So who's gonna be doing that email?
I could draft up and work with Tiffany.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, Dave.
And review with Dee and you folks.
And does it need to be on Dee's paperwork here? It doesn't.
No, because we'll be doing a contract directly with Young and Wooldridge.
Wooldridge, yeah. Because everything else is all engineering other than, well, does it? Because we have item 1 on here, which is, deals directly with UD and not D. So does he need to include that? It's probably a good idea, right? Dave?
I'm sorry, what?
Sorry.
I was
Does
writing,
I mean, Dee may want to add the legal to this paperwork because he does have, item one has nothing to do with D. It doesn't have to do with engineering. It has to do with administration and stuff for FPPUD. So we probably do want to add it into this paperwork as well.
you already have administration approved for the amount of
I'm
24.
not talking about administration. I'm talking about the legal fees for Young Woolridge.
It's not part of your contract. I'm just worried about the budget for the part, which these numbers are part of, but, I don't know that, Dee's responsible for the legal part. I know he was trying to incorporate that stuff into the budget that he has, just to overall see.
Right.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just trying to get the budget square, so, at the end of this month, you'll be submitting a claim. Or beginning of next month, you'll be submitting a claim. And so we want to make sure that we get approval for the line item adjustments in the budget for the planning pay request.
I guess
So
what
really-
I'm saying, I'm just saying it because he's addressed everything else, some items which are in his amendment, but aren't really Dee's responsibility. So that's why I would.
And I know he's made some changes, which were pretty minimal which were just a couple line items. And, so I don't know, and I know Dee, I had sent you a copy of the budget, but I don't know if it, I just didn't know, Dee, if you had a chance to review the budget that I had to square with yours.
No, I haven't, Dave. I haven't had a chance to go through that. You want to go through it now, or we'll do it tomorrow online?
Well, the only thing I have is, I've added consolidation legal for $9,000. And there's and then based on, your information that, the test well drilling is no longer 261,400, but it is
56600.
256600, yes.
Just
And
a
then the,
point of clarification there, I sent that information out in October 2020. And that bid analysis included the correction from the 261.4 to 256.6. It's just been so long that we've been, looking at this. Everybody's kind of forgotten about it, but there was no, everybody, what I'm just saying is that number has been out there since October 2020.
Well, I think what Lisa was asking, because it's not that it has to be on the where he spells it out in the contract, but Lisa was saying on the exhibit though, we need to, I think Dave is what he's saying is because you're adding $9,000 for consolidation legal, that you're going to ask Lawrence for that approval, that she's saying that maybe he should put it on this breakdown sheet and moving that contingency. Is that not correct, Director Schoenberg? Is that what you're?
Correct. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking if that would be a good idea so that we're on the same page, because we have two different, basically he's using exhibit C or whatever it is. It's not exhibit C, exhibit B to, to break down everything, not just his cost, but the other cost. So it's basically showing everything in the total. So it seems like it would make sense to put the item that you have in the budget, Dave, there as well on this exhibit B, so that it would be clear.
Okay. And as an aside, Dee, that I'm looking at an email from December 16th where you say that the drilling cost is reduced from $360,000 to $261,400. And that was dated December 16th, 2020.
Well, that's obviously a mistake there, but the memo that I sent out to everybody on October 7th, 2020, and you have it, I just sent it to you again, shows very clearly that the number on the amount should be 256.6. I'm just saying that
That's the one we forgot to read.
it's not something that was a secret. Everybody has known it. We've just forgotten about it.
Right.
It's 256.6, and that's why it's on that Exhibit B as 256.6.
So I'd like to move that we approve the planning, studying, engineering contract services amendment number 1 with the amendments mentioned and with the knowledge that we need an approval from Lawrence before we can actually sign it. So it's a conditional approval. A conditional approval. And then the amendments would be changing the date. Sorry, somebody was calling me. Adding the legal fees to Exhibit B and
So adding consolidation legal into Exhibit B, the 9,000 D. So you would subtract from your contingency.
I probably just need Dave to mark up my Exhibit B, and then I'll make those changes so that it reflects exactly what we've discussed here.
I mean, I guess.
Can you
Does
do
he
that?
need?
Dave, are you?
I hear, yeah.
I mean, the only weird thing is then in the writing under item 6, that's going to be incorrect. Item 6 contingency will be not correct. So
Well, yeah, you would have to change that.
number as well. Yeah. It's in multiple places. It makes it a little weird because unfortunately you mentioned the contingency in a few places. So I think you will have to change just the couple places where the contingency is mentioned. I don't think you need to add a line that talks about the legal. I think that's not really part of your contract per se, but I think you probably need to amend the contingency and amend that exhibit and amend the date. So I don't have a second, but I have a seconder to my motion.
I'll second
are you
that
done?
motion.
What, do I hear a second?
I'll second
I'll
it.
second that motion.
Okay, Director Gibson has seconded it. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Nyman, I went out of order, is an aye. Director Schoenberg's an aye. Motion carried 500.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
Point of, hang on. I just, please, Dave, you're keeping up with this, right? You know where you want that, where everybody wants this thing put? And I will put it in Exhibit B as it should be. And then I'm going to have to revise the cover letter as well in order to reflect.
Do you want me to just mark it up and send it to you?
Yeah, that would be great, Lisa. I just want to get it right.
It just may take me a minute, but I'll try to get that out before our next meeting.
Great, okay, and I'll make the changes. And then do you want me to send that to Lawrence for approval, or would that come from the district?
Well, either way, but we definitely need to talk about it. Or Dave can put it on this next agenda for the 20th, but we definitely need to talk everything over with Lawrence for the 20th. So he probably wants it ahead of time,
Yeah,
and then we need to discuss it.
okay,
So I'll try to get that to you before this Tuesday meeting, just in case there's any other issues. But we would need to know 24 hours in advance so we could stick it on the agenda if there is.
yeah,
And so I'll try to do that this weekend. So I'll just send you like a marked up copy of it.
sounds good, Lisa. Just when you get it marked up, just shoot it over to me even if it's on the weekend. And I'll try
Okay.
to get it.
At
Okay,
the
I
ad hoc
have-
meet, there's an ad hoc meeting this next Thursday.
Correct. Correct.
Yes.
No, it's next Tuesday.
No,
No.
no, that's a special meeting. Let's keep it together.
Oh, okay.
No, we're talking
We're talking
about the
about the
state,
okay.
we're talking about the state update meeting, that's next Thursday.
Oh
So,
my gosh. Okay.
So quick
Wait,
question.
which is an ad hoc meeting.
Yeah. Quick question. Did you sent this out, or how did this, was this on my email? Because I'm looking at the one that came from Tiffany, but do I have it on an email to mark up, or can you just resend it to me just in case?
I can,
The hard copy of it. I just don't know if I have the electronic copy of it.
I could scan it right now, Lisa, and shoot it to you.
I mean, if you need to scan it, then I can scan it and I'll just mark it up with a pen.
Okay,
yeah. Okay,
I'll look for it electronically though. I probably have it electronically.
okay.
okay, D, discussion vote on project budget adjustment and request. So that's what you're going to be getting together, right, Dave? And that's adding the legal cost for $9,000, that the change for the 2480 and what we just discussed.
Yes, and the test well cost.
And the test well cost. I mean, I don't think we have to vote on this, do we? I mean, I think we've,
No.
no, so we've already approved that. Okay, okay, we're ENF, vote, discussion, sphere of influence, data collection, mapping, and MSR.
I think we can hold off on all of that for the moment until we have more information on the test well, etc.
Right,
I would say that we've got enough going on simultaneously that
yeah, I
could.
think so too. Okay, G, discussion vote on memorandum of understanding. We don't have that back from Alan yet.
We don't. I reviewed a copy. He didn't send it out to you.
I don't think I received anything.
I don't think I received that either.
Okay. He made some, he reviewed it and made some changes, and then he sent it over to me and asked me to take a look at it, and I approved it. And then I assumed he was going to send it to you folks for review, and then, any modifications that would be.
And that added all of these contingencies that we've been talking about?
Well, let me see. Tell me what contingencies we
Wait a
were.
minute, where am I on the right? I'm sorry, hold on, let me even find where we're at here. Which MOU are we talking about?
We were talking about for Lake of the Woods planning.
Yeah,
Director
that's what I
Schoenberg.
thought. Yeah, so for Lake of the Woods planning, there's a number of things that need to be added. But right now, my understanding was that it only had, it had all kinds of information about assets transfer, but it did not have any contingencies for what happens, if the state doesn't have the money for us to actually build the pipeline.
Oh, I think that the revision addresses that.
Okay, yeah, I have not seen that revision.
Yeah, we haven't seen that, so we need to get that so we can review that, Dee. We haven't, I mean, so I don't think we can discuss it any further. We'll have to look at it for, if you can get that over to us, because we'll have to review it before the next board meeting.
I will, I'll contact Alan and ask him to send you guys that document.
Oh my.
I assume that he would have already.
I think my brain is gonna melt down.
Mine's gone. It's gone already.
Okay, on to H, discussion vote on update on claims and payouts.
So we don't have
Okay.
another, we don't have that yet. I mean, we're not on the next one yet.
Right, this is the last of the 3 months, and then you'd be submitting a claim in April, once we gather all that information.
In April. We're in
April.
May.
In April. So I'm going back, June.
So we'll have claim, what is it? Claim number 8 by what? The June meeting is what you're talking about, by the end of June?
Yes.
Is that what we're looking at? Okay. And we've submitted claim 7 and we just don't have that back yet.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay, on to 11, discussion vote update on Fraser Park Public Utility District meter replacement project and emergency replacement well and water supply project. Whew. Okay.
Can you say that 5 times fast, Brahma?
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that, Oscar. So, okay, so number 8, state grant application. That's basically we're waiting still for approval, right?
Yes, we're still waiting I reached out to Lawrence. He's been out for the last couple days. I won't be able to reach out to him again probably till Monday. I think he's out till Monday. So I haven't heard anything,
Right.
if they've approved the funding agreement already or not.
Right. So we'll
He
have.
was talking 6 months on approving the funding agreement, wasn't he? I mean, there was a conditional approval that he said would happen by the end of their fiscal year, which is June, but I don't think he said that the actual funding agreement was going to be done by then.
I recall he did.
He did? Okay.
That's what I recall.
Yeah. Well, we can maybe we should talk about that again with him when we have the state update meeting on next Thursday.
Of course, Carlos may have a different viewpoint on how soon that they may get an agreement, right?
Because I think he said they were working on the contracts, weren't they?
Yeah, they go through legal and such.
Yeah. So, okay. B, discussion vote on well 7's plans and specs. Go ahead, D.
The plans are on Curtis's desk for review. Specifications are being worked on. So we're close now.
Right. And that's updating for the state's the way the state wants the plans and specs to look, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, I mean, basically, we had already basically done it, but originally it was for the USDA, but the state requires a different format.
And then D, whatever you've had to change, that's being submitted to Tulare to pay.
Yeah.
Like we got additional money for that, right?
Yes, we got, I think, an additional 20 is what I asked for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be submitted to Tulare County, it'll come to you for your review, and then once you're okay with it, then we move it, we shoot it up to
So so what you're saying, you'll send us, the invoice will be made out to Tulare, but you'll send it to us to review and say, okay, and then you'll send it on to Tulare.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, C, discussion vote on claims and payouts. I don't think there's,
We don't have any.
yes. Oh, can we go back? Can we go back to the Lake of the Woods planning? To claims and payouts, number 8.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
move that we revisit H on
Okay.
the previous discussion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Director Kelling has seconded it. Roll call, directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Hi.
Director Kelling.
Aye.
Director Nyman and I, Director Schoenberg.
Yes, aye.
Okay, 5-0, motion carried. Okay, Dave, I had a question, I guess. Where do we stand as far as the what is owed Fraser Park and getting, because you were going to get together for like Young and Wooldridge,
Yes.
the ones that we have paid, you were going to get together that payment together because you guys have the funding agreement, correct?
Yes, the work plan's been approved. The contracts with D and Young and Woolridge have both been signed by both parties. And I've been thrashing through the request for proposals within our own organization. I'm on my third redoing of the Young and Woolridge run because my superiors have asked for more information, documentation. I thought you guys were tough.
Okay.
So yes, that is in the works. And I believe that D's check should either have gone out this week. I will check. It'll be gone out should have gone out this week or may have gone out this next week.
Okay, so D, but then D has to reimburse us.
Yes. And
so we need to know what that amount is and what invoices those paid.
I will copy you folks an approved RFP.
Okay.
Which is our paperwork, which shows this is what we're going to pay. And I have like a spreadsheet and it shows here's where the money goes for these bills.
Okay.
And the invoices will be attached
along
with additional documentation.
So, and then once you get, I'm not so concerned about D's because I know D will cut a check immediately for us. But my concern is Young and Wooldridge making sure that when you cut a check that they're contacted saying they apply to these invoices, which you have already been paid for, and you need to reimburse Fraser Park.
So you want me to send, I'll just ask them before they send the check that I add something to that check, a letter with documentation that you guys need reimbursement for costs.
Right, that they have to send us reimbursement because we need, and so we're copied on it so that we can keep track of that and we can bug them to send us the money because I don't want to get lost in their organization and then all of a sudden, oh, well, we got double paid.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. That's all I had. I just because I know we were talking about it before. So, okay. Back on to number 12, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. I think we don't have anything happening right now at this point. I don't know what we need to discuss on it. We have so many other things happening. Okay, 13. discussion vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency allocation to the Special District Grant. A discussion vote on project fee estimate.
Okay, what happened is, well, not happened, but I realized after I got the quote from Joe Prevender that we probably should have just went through D originally. I mean, I got the quote, but it includes the technical plans and specs. A boilerplate contract docs would be provided by the district, so we'd still have to come up with the contract, and there's no construction administration, but it includes a technical bid review. So unless somebody on the board knows how to put it out to bid and word it correctly, in addition to the quote for $30,323, we may want to consider asking D to do the bid process and the construction review. Unless, I mean, I could probably handle the construction aspect of it, but it might be cost effective to just ask D to do it. And that $30,323, by the way, is not covered by the grant. That's out of the district's pocket. And then the grant covers the generators themselves and the installing them.
So what would be the cost for D to administer the bid and what you were saying?
I have not asked D yet, so I don't know if he could give us a off the cuff.
Yeah.
Quick question.
$30,322.
Huh? What'd you say?
He just said the exact amount that was quoted by the other company.
Except $1 less. But no, I really, Johnny and I haven't had a chance to talk or even look over that. So, you know, we'll have to get together and see if, you know, just exactly what that scope would be.
Johnny, before you do that,
Go ahead, Director Schoenberg.
Did you actually tell them that we wanted the whole bit of it, you know, that it wasn't, so that we have an actual quote from them on all of it, though it wasn't just the technical specs?
I did not specify all of that. I assumed that, let me see what my original thing was.
Because we had already agreed to that in a board meeting, that we were going to ask them to do that. So
I believed that the way I presented it to him, that that's what we would get, but apparently in translation it did not come through like that. So I would like to maybe meet with D if he's available sometime next week. Maybe I could go down and meet with D, and then we'll come back to you at the next meeting with the time frame got extended. Tiffany could probably tell you the date, but it got extended beyond, I think it was the original November date. We still have to do our report by November, but we definitely have time to put it off for another 2 weeks to decide which way we want to go.
Would it be possible to reiterate to the person that we already had send us that bid information, what we were really looking for, and just see, you know, what the difference would be to include that, and then also D look at it? So
yeah, I can do that. I'll just include everybody, including D, in it.
Okay.
Yeah, what we can do, Johnny, and it may be make it really clear, is when you come down, we'll have a conference call with Joe Prevender on the phone, and then have Curtis linked in too, and you know, just make sure we know who's doing what and who can do it the most economic way. And,
that would be great.
You know, because I think
that's also not, whatever extra cost that is also not covered under the grant, correct?
Yeah, and I will say that I reached out to 2 other people before I sent Joe Prevender a email asking him to do this for recommendations for an electrical engineer, and both other people recommended Joe. Apparently he's the go-to guy.
He is absolutely the best. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Okay. So you think we can get together next week, D, and then we'll do that?
Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
I'll get with you on Monday and find out what your schedule is.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right, thank
All
you.
right. On to 14, discussion vote on emergency repairs to Wolf booster tank. Okay, update on the project.
We got, to my knowledge, we've gotten most of it done. We got the slab poured now, the final slab. We're still waiting on the building. Dee could update you on that, but waiting on the building after I asked that some changes be made on the direction the door was going to face. And P&J Electric just called me today. They have to hook up some pressure switches on the booster pumps that'll shut them off if a valve is accidentally shut.
Mhm.
So he's going to reach out to Curtis and find out if he could take some circuitry out to add this new circuitry, what have you. But Dee, have you got an update on the building?
Yeah, Unified is trying to get the roll-up door delivered, and just like everything else, it seems in this COVID time, it's been delayed, but it looks like it'll be here in about 2 weeks, is what they said. So once they got the door, then they can start framing the building, but they need that door so they can get it in properly. So it's looks like it's 2 weeks out for the door, and we'll get the door, and then they can get busy building the building.
Well, the real good news for me is that if you remember, part of the piping had blown apart when we were trying to put the boosters online because we didn't have the pipe supports and the slab poured. Now, for all practical purposes, the operating of the boosters is secure, and that part of the project and the changing the piping going down the hill, all of that is complete. So I believe the last little bit is going to be the building and the door.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so B, discussion vote on progress payments 4 and 5. Okay, so we have progress payment number 4. We have received a letter from D. Jasper and Associates. Attached is progress payment number 4 from Unified Field Service Corporation for the above referenced project. The approved amount to be paid for progress number 4 is $104,101.95, or $109,581 minus the 5% retention. The amount billed for this period includes installation of the booster pump station, piping, appurtenances, the booster pump, the underground PVC piping, and electrical and control work. Sincerely, Curtis Staggs, project manager. So the work completed comes to 109,000. So I don't know that I had any questions on this other than I'm looking at tank site ground cover painting. Okay, that's still what we need 100%. So on this, you just show how much is left to be done, basically.
Yes.
So you're doing it in percentages. So of course, that's the 25% is like demobilization and cleanup.
Yeah, that last column is the percent remaining, the balance remaining.
Right. So like it says relocate. I guess the question is new horizontal centrical pump and motor. we still owe $1,800. When it says 10% left, I mean, what do they have left to do, Dee? I mean, or is that just what's left of the contract?
Well, yeah, I think there's just some small items like the pressure switches and some other things that they have to do. It's only, I think, a couple $1,000
Okay,
that's remaining there. And so until, they get everything done, we're not gonna.
right, we're not gonna pay them. No, I get that. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this?
My eyes are getting to the point where I can't even read it. It's too small. That's a little hard for me, but I do need to transfer, if we're okay with it, I'll need to transfer money from the, tonight, from the capital improvement reserve into the revenue to be able to cover everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I do have
Question.
I do have a question here real quick. The new horizontal centrifugal pump and motor is showing a unit price of $18,000. The district itself purchased that from Farm Pump. So is that something that should have been taken out?
Yep.
I'm not sure how Curtis is handling that.
I guess I have to check and make sure that somehow or another the invoice wasn't sent to Curtis, or wasn't sent to Curtis and us. Do you remember paying that, Lisa? It was like $15,000 to $18,000.
I remember paying a big Farm Pump invoice. but
yeah, we
I-
did like a month or two ago.
Yeah, I would have to.
That would have been it. So, we need to check before you approve this payment, because I believe we paid for that booster, so that should come out of it.
Well, yeah, let's see what Curtis did, because I'm not 100% sure, but he was aware of that. And I'm not quite sure how that was handled, whether the money went to
Well, I know we cut a check to directly to
Farm Pump.
Farm Pump. We paid for it ourselves, Dee.
the new, specifically the horizontal centrifugal.
Oh, you know what? Well, the horizontal. Well, the upright one that we got, that new one, we paid for it, and then we reused the other one.
Right, and yeah, I'm just gonna have to get with Curtis. Let's do that on Monday, Johnny.
Okay.
And because I'm not quite sure how this was handled.
So we're gonna have to hold this check and
I think we can, hold this check and do it on Tiffany, can you put it on the special meeting?
Yeah, that would be good.
Yes.
And I really need to see this like bigger print. It's so tiny. I'm having trouble. I know I need to get glasses, but I'm having trouble.
I wear glasses and I had trouble reading it.
Yeah, the only way you can really read it is to put it on the screen and increase the zoom.
Right. Did you send it? So do I have I'm just looking at the one in the board packet, but is it electronic where I can do that?
Yes. All this went out electronically.
Did that go to us directly, Tiffany, or just you?
No, you were included on that email.
Okay, then I'll look. I just probably didn't look at it because I already had it in the board packet.
so basically, I mean, basically, Dee, that kind of screws up both payments. I mean, well, because then he paid on, if we go on to number 5, on the horizontal pump, Curtis was paying him the $1,800. So
I'm calling Curtis right now. Let's see if we can get it straightened out.
I'm gonna go on the computer and see what we paid.
Cool.
I guess. Or unless, well, actually, Tiffany, don't you have that? You tracked our payments, right?
I do.
I
have-
remember bringing it up last month because it was, because it had been categorized wrong. And I remember
Yeah.
saying that needed to be a part of Wolf Tank. So I had specifically mentioned that to Linda, which is why I'm, 90% positive that we already paid for it, because I remember that I asked Linda to recategorize that.
I have the financials up on my computer here. Do you want me to look it up for you?
Yeah,
Please.
because I'm pretty positive that we paid that directly to Farm Pump, I believe at the last
I think it was the last,
meeting.
maybe
Either
the
the last meeting or the meeting before that. So it was definitely on the check detail in one of the last two meetings.
Last how many meetings?
Two. So it was either at the planning or the last regular meeting.
Okay, I go to January.
And it was a payment to Farm Pump, directly to Farm Pump, but I asked you.
Oh,
to
I remember that. So, and it should have went into LOW planning grant?
No, Wolf Tank. So you put it in the right.
Oh, I'm
spot.
sorry. Wolf Tank.
But-
So what account? Do you know what account number?
That
I'll have
would
to
have
look.
come out of the revenue. And then I would have done a transfer. So there should be a transfer associated with it as well from our capital improvement reserve. So the actual check should have been written out of the operating revenue.
Oh, okay.
I know there was a large payment to Farm Pump because I remember.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the quote for Farm Pump should have been $14,777.40. And that was for a vertical booster pump. The horizontal is our old one that we were still using. So nobody replaced that, but it's on the claim.
So I'm looking at a check date of February 11th, 2021, a check to Farm Pump for $15,357.67.
Okay, yeah, so on the progress payment, it's calling it a new horizontal centrifugal pump. So they're not trying to bill us for the vertical that we paid for, but they are charging us for the booster that we're just reusing.
yeah, but they still shouldn't be charging us for that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
so the horizontal, they shouldn't have never been a part of the agreement anyway, because we didn't replace that.
Right.
Okay, so you're saying that there isn't, like I said, I'm having trouble reading it. I should go on the computer. But so you're saying that the check we cut is not part of that partial payment, but they're charging us for something that they didn't install because we're using the old.
Yeah,
So-
there's two pumps up there, a horizontal and a vertical. We paid for the vertical and the horizontal is an old one. So
Let me pull the
It-
bill. Who was the check written to?
Farm Pump, FARM pump.
Yeah, I
And
remember
irrigation.
that. Yeah, thank you.
But I don't know if that bill matters because they're not charging us for that. They're charging us for something that they didn't do at all, that we didn't do, that we just reused.
Yeah, for horizontal.
Okay, I'm going to move while we're trying to figure this out to finish business. Where it's 8:52 already.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, Director Garcia seconded. We're moving to finish business at 8:52. Roll call of directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman's aye, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 500.
I have the bill. You want me to read it to you?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, here we go. All right, so
Okay.
freight 410.75, Gundelfoss 13,647.69, motor. Oh, that's a motor. As estimated, freight, blah, blah, blah. $280 for a,
So what's the total, Linda?
the total is 15,357.67.
Okay. So that's the vertical pump. Is that right?
And,
Right.
yeah, and just as a word of note, I mean, we'll hash this out with D, but on claim 5, it's also got the new horizontal centrifugal pump and motor listed on that too. So on both, it's on both claims, and it shouldn't be on either one.
Right, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If I might interject, I talked to Curtis. Of course, he's home and he's not in a position to look at this thing. He'll look at it tomorrow. There's, certainly if they've been paid twice, we'll get a credit.
That's not the issue, D. The issue is now that we actually are being charged for reusing our old, that it's
The horizontal pump, we used our old horizontal pump, and we paid for the vertical pump. So, and they're charging us $18,000 for a horizontal pump.
What needs to be done is Curtis needs to explain what all of this is. And certainly if there is a mistake here, we can get it rectified. But Curtis has his hands on this particular job and he knows exactly what was done and what should be built against it. And I just, with all due respect, I think he's got a pretty darn good handle on the project. If something appears to be wrong, then, and it may not be, simply because of the way these projects get put together, but he will dive into this tomorrow and take a look at it, and we'll get it all straightened out. I know he's got the detail on it, and he was talking to me about a number of the things that were done on this project, about how we've moved the horizontal pump over, relocated it, and do other things. And certainly I'm not the guy to address these issues. And I think to bring clarity to this, we need to have Curtis go through this thing and then run through it, and then explain what these cost items are, and make sure that we didn't pay twice. Certainly.
Oh yeah, yeah, I do agree, because they had to do all that temporary piping and stuff for the other booster.
Yeah.
It's just another thing to bring up to him is that it's on both claims, 4 and 5, the same amount. But we could definitely, I'll get with you tomorrow or Monday, and then we'll talk about it on Tuesday at the special meeting.
Okay, so I say that we carry this over to the Tuesday special meeting, because it needs to be done, and then at that point we can see if the check needs to be changed, and then we can ask either Linda to cut a new check and we'll do the approval, or we'll send out the current check as it is. So
yes,
that would be for both partial Tiffany, partial number 4 and number 5.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, D. Appreciate that.
Well, I'm not sure I help, but
no, because part of it, I do remember they had to do all that, the extra pad and the piping and all that stuff to keep us in water. So that may be the explanation.
I think it will be, but we're not beyond making a mistake. But I do think Curtis has a pretty good handle on this. So I think it's best to do what we're doing and delay this thing and get it all straightened out before we move ahead.
well, I think we need to make sure, because we also did change orders, Johnny. So we need to be clear on what was in the contract and what is assigned to where. because I
Yeah,
don't
no,
want
I
to end
will
up
be.
paying extra money for something that they didn't do.
We're
Yeah,
not,
no,
yeah,
So,
go ahead, John.
okay,
Yeah, we're not doing that, but there's a straight up explanation, and we'll get it.
okay. All right, moving on to, do we want to take a break or do we want to keep going?
Can I just say, I don't see, I see that where that email was sent to me, but I don't see the attachment. There aren't any attachments on it.
which email are you talking about?
The Wolf Tank progress payment, number 5, and then it asked about number 4 as well. They said that they sent it over March 31st and they just forwarded it to you again, but I don't think that went to me.
I have it on, for the board packet on
On
a
the board
digital file. I can resend it. That way it's a single email.
Oh, okay, yeah, can you do that just so I have 4 and 5 where I can blow them up?
Yeah, if it's okay, I'll do it when we finish the meeting. So I'll go back into my
That's
office.
fine.
Okay.
Okay, on to 16. And I think, let's see, that's done. Okay, that's on there. So I think that's all we have for you tonight, Dave and Oscar and Dee. So if you want to take off
Or stay.
or
if you want to.
stay, whatever you want to do.
Hey, thank you guys very much.
Okay, thank you, folks.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dave.
I'll be in touch with Lisa and Dee.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna send that, I'm gonna send that markup to D this weekend.
Yeah, as soon as,
I'll copy you, Dave.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, that's great, Lisa, and I'll get to it as quickly as, when I get it. I don't know that I'll get it this weekend, but I'll get it Monday.
Okay, so before we go on to any more new business, we on to financials now.
Correct.
So, financial business, discuss vote on accounts payable and financial information. You're up, Linda.
Okay, oops. Okay, I'm here. The total cash balance in all accounts as of 4:30, the end of 4:30 is 2,010,818.12. But after
I didn't get the P&L statement, Linda.
you didn't?
No, it wasn't in your, you just sent over the check, the
You
general
know what?
ledger.
Yeah, I think what happened, I think that Lisa probably got 2 sets of P&Ls because I found an extra one in my car and I said, oh crap. But
Okay.
I think
All right.
that's what happened.
And
Because I was really rushing to get you some information. So
I haven't even been able to look at it because it came right when the meeting started and it went all over my yard and it's all out of order and everything. So,
oh gosh. Okay. Well, I'm sorry I didn't have time to put them in envelopes. I thought I was going to hand it to you.
no.
So, yeah. Okay, so the total cash balance in all accounts as of 5/13/20 after the checks that we wrote, which is a negative 62,695.81. So those were checks written from April 30th to 5/13. And you have a list of those.
Can you say that again? So it's
Yeah.
negative.
The total
how
cash
is it?
balance, yeah, negative 62,695.81.
That's just the total cost of the checks.
Right. Well, no, that's subtracting the checks that you have. Those checks will give us a negative balance at May 13.
Right, because I need to transfer because we're not, so you should remove the two
Yeah,
checks that we're holding off, which is, you know,
Oh.
two big checks.
right, not, yeah, 104,000 and the other one's like
Right.
25,000.
Because when we agree on those, I need to transfer those, so we shouldn't, otherwise we will go, we will
Right.
overdraft, so.
So Lisa, I thought that those were supposed to be paid out of, I paid it out of the wrong account, did I?
No.
It's not
Oh,
really. It just
oh.
needs, well, I mean, I should have probably transferred it into, wait, those are the partial payments? No, those are not paid out.
No, that come out of our revenue because we're paying for it, but
Those
we
are
transfer
correct.
the money from our capital improvement account.
Reserve, right.
Okay, but we didn't transfer that yet, right?
No,
because
no.
it wasn't approved.
Okay. All righty. So, I believe that's it.
Okay, so
Okay.
let's go. I want to go over the couple things. First of all, I'm not sure on the check detail. What are these debits that just say debit for ADP, Linda? You have 114.08 and $210.
When I call them debits, it means that it was automatically taken out of the bank.
Which is how they do all the payroll and fees, I believe.
Yeah, those are well, ADP
So
is.
then why do
payroll,
we
yeah.
get invoices for extra invoices?
Well,
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. This was the first time that I'd noticed that we were getting automatic withdrawals. So, my question was the same thing. So I might want to follow up with that.
Yeah, because it should not be automatic withdrawals for the fees and the monthly charges. It should only be automatic withdrawals for the payroll.
Right. Right. The large amounts, the net checks.
Yeah.
And the taxes.
Yeah, whatever's involved with the employee payroll comes out of it, but the administration and the time clock and all that stuff is paid by checks.
So I will contact them on Monday and ask them what these fees are. And
because we get invoices for every time we do payroll of
$135. Mm-hmm. So
why would they be taking this money out of our account? I don't understand that.
Yeah, that would mean we've been double paying for several years.
No, this is the first time I've noticed that. I didn't notice that last time. So I will follow up on it and find out what went on with that. Okay.
Okay.
Call ADP. All right.
Yeah, we need to know what that is because that doesn't seem correct. So, okay. Then one thing. Okay, we're paying the bonds, the director bonds. You know, it seems like we're paying them late. I don't know how the invoices came so late from JPIA. Do you have any idea, Tiffany? Because we paid my bond last month, and we have invoices that were dated like February that we're paying for Director Schoenberg, Director Garcia, and Director Kelling, and then we still haven't paid Director Gibson's bond. Do you have any idea where?
I do. So back in February, when the bonds were renewed and we hadn't had invoices, I emailed Debbie Kybers at JPIA, and she just said that their invoicing was delayed. So it wasn't our fault. We didn't receive them late. They just were late in getting out the bills.
So they won't be charging us like a 1% fee as their invoice says?
No, they shouldn't. And I do have an email to back that up if they try.
Okay.
And then Gibson, Director Gibson, her bond actually will renew, I believe, in June.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was just, because I was looking at the different bonds. Okay. And now we have an issue. What happened, Johnny? Do you have any idea the AT&T bill? that went up to $944.
Yeah, I asked it. It looked like there was a unpaid thing last time, so I asked
No.
Linda to look into that. Well, let me finish.
Okay.
So I asked Linda to follow up on it and check it and see what was happening with it. Make sure that they didn't send out the bill after we already made a payment, because that's just absurd.
Well, it doesn't. If you look at the bill itself shows that on 14th of April, they received our bill for $381.15. And this is current charges. So, and if you look at the billing summary, they're charging us now for plans and services, a monthly service charge of $685.94. Then they add the surcharge and government fees, which comes to $836.85. And then of course they add for those two lines, 70 and 37, which brings it to $944.14.
We actually got 5 lines, but it's still, I mean, I just got done going through this. You guys remember, I just got done making sure that we had the best plan we could, and it was around $350. So
right.
If it would jumped up this much, Monday I'll be back on the phone all day and find out what the hell they're talking about, because that's just ridiculous.
Right. There's no way we should be paying almost $1,000 a month for phone service. I mean,
No.
we can, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if we're doing that, then we should go to some other plan.
Yeah, we need to go to a computer-based phone system and do it. Yeah, exactly. So I sent myself a message on Monday. I'll get back on the phone. The problem is every time I call, it literally takes a whole day to get through to them. But I will definitely make that the priority on Monday to find out what's going on.
So, I mean, my thing is, I guess we still have to pay this, but then they can give us a credit, whatever you work out.
Yeah, they would have to give us a credit back.
Okay.
But I mean, do we want to do that? Do we want to pay it, or do we want to pay? They're already charging, or do we want to pay a late fee and ask them what's going on first?
Well, I don't know when the due date is, but typically AT&T is fast, and it would not be good to do without phone service if they shut us off.
Right, yeah.
They would shut off after one.
No, I have no idea how long they wait. I don't know if it's based on dollar amount or if it's based on months behind.
I don't know, because I'm concerned that they're not, if they have that in hand, that we aren't going to get a reimbursement. I don't know.
Well, however you want to handle it, I will be calling on Monday to find out. So when you return stuff to the office,
okay, what I'm going to do, what I'll do is, we won't even sign this check. What I'm going to do is I'll put this under your door, Johnny, and then you can call them. And then if we have to pay it, then we can run around and get signatures.
Sounds good.
And if not, we'll have to recut a new check for them. So, Linda may have to come in next week for just 2 or 3 checks that we need to recut, depending upon what happens with the progress payment and stuff. So.
I was planning on coming in next week anyway.
Yeah. So, okay. So we'll do that. And so I'm going to set that one to the side. Then where's my list here? Okay. So that was that. Okay. Linda, when you go on the second, P&J Electric for $2,435.58. That was actually, Johnny had on there. That was for our. He had distribution, and you put it under vehicle maintenance, and that should be actually. We have a thing for telemetry, correct, Lisa?
I'm not sure. I didn't have time to look. Too much stuff.
I don't believe we have one for telemetry. I mean, we have a loan for telemetry, but all the work we've done so far has been put under distribution, and this is just normal maintenance. It's getting all the electrocuted mice out of there, putting mouse traps in, and cleaning them out.
Okay. So anyways,
P&J is doing that?
They have to do it. We're not allowed to open up the inner doors and mess with 480 volts. It requires an electrician with protective gear to get in there and pull the electrocuted mice.
Well, no matter what, it's not vehicle maintenance, so it's just be distribution.
It needs to be distribution, Linda.
Okay.
Okay.
I may have just hit the wrong key. I don't know how close it is to, but anyways.
Okay. Then the other thing, which I know we've asked before, did we on the internet? Let me find the bill. Hold on just a second. Almost there. AT&T users. Okay. All right. So this is the one that I don't know what we can do, Johnny, to put this on like auto pay or something, because this is going to continue to be a problem.
Well, you were in the office today that I spent half the day on that trying to call and get somebody on the damn phone, but I can't put it on auto pay because I can't create an account with the email because the email is already associated with the landline. So you have to talk to somebody. So I spent countless time calling the number on that bill for internet. When I finally got through, they said, "Oh, you can't call this number. You have to call this other number." And it's so time intensive for a $67 bill that I haven't been able to accomplish it yet.
Okay, because I mean it's just we get charged every month. It costs us $10 late fee.
Well, yeah, and it's costing countless hours of time as well trying to correct this, and that's frustrating. So we may have to try to get that added to like Tiffany's email and set it up that way, because there's no way without talking to somebody that I can get it added to the landline or create an account.
Well, why don't we have Tiffany look in to see what she can do? Now, they had a charge on here. It said Tech 360. Is that because because now the bill is $91 this month.
Well, obviously AT&T is gouging us again on both aspects.
I mean, because it has here, because what it shows on here, Johnny, it shows us, okay, internet 25 is $50 plus surcharge is $53.50. They charge us a $10 late charge, and then they say a monthly charge says Tech 360, and it has on their AT&T standard TS 360 package, $28.
Yeah, well, that's how they work their packages. They tack all that shit on. If you notice that we also pay some type of an internet thing for the phones, because the only way to get the cheaper rate, which now has tripled, was to allow them to do that and then still have a separate internet package. I think it's time. I need to clarify this stuff, but I think it's time to look at getting Zito Media or some other media like that and buy the program for the computer-based phone system. Because AT&T has never been good for us. It's always been a huge problem.
Yeah, because it just seems like they just continue to nickel and dime us. I mean, and it's ridiculous.
It's a lot more than nickel and dimes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's huge now. But
and on the internet, I mean, this is the thing. They issue their invoice on April 25th, and then they say that it's due by May 16th. So they're not even giving us a month.
I get it, and they make it, if anybody cares to try to call AT&T, they make it so difficult to get a hold of somebody. I mean, if I'm on hold for an hour and a half, I mean, I've literally been on hold for over an hour, and then something comes up, a leak happens, or I have to go out. I can't continue to wait and hold to try to talk to somebody. And then half the time you wait all that time and then they disconnect you and you got to start the process over again.
That's
Super frustrating.
true. That's very true. Yes.
Well, we need to see what we can do to get away from them, I think, because
Yeah.
I
Well, I'll
mean,
start working
I mean,
on it next week.
yeah, because I mean, because the other thing is that of course they want you to you got to send the stuff to their payment place, which is in Illinois, which is takes 5 days to mail it through the mail, and so ultimately they know you're going to be late. I mean,
Well, we'll
unless
work on
you,
it.
I mean, unless we cut the check immediately. I mean, you know, so.
Oh, we're good. I'll work on it. This whole last week has been my annual report, leak after leak after leak. You know, equipment failures. I mean, I've been hammered, swamped. So
Yeah.
next week I'll try to free up
I
enough
get
time
it,
to do
Johnny.
it.
That's I'm not. I'm just.
Oh
it's
no,
just
I'm
I
frustrated
mean,
too.
the main thing I'm concerned about is the $900 bill. I mean,
Yeah.
the other one, yeah, it bothers me, but we need to see what we can do to.
Will do. I'll make sure I get on that.
Okay. All right. One thing, on when you put in the director's feed, Linda,
Yes.
so you put the date as 4:30. Really, when you put in though, you should be putting in the date of the meetings. So like whatever date, like on Director Garcia, he gets paid, you know, just for the one meeting. That should be the date of the meeting, and it's the same when you break it down, because you break it down for like Gibson. She was at 2 meetings. It should have 2 dates in there.
You know what? I do put that in, but I think I'm putting it in the account information. Like you see under you.
But see,
Rama.
and when I look at the check too, you're all it says is you put in there April's director fees or whatever, and
Yeah, it needs to indicate which meetings, because we you had fixed the where it was being categorized to, so that's fixed. But and you broke it down to each amount, but it just doesn't have dates for when those amounts are.
see, and and also on the stubs that we get should have a listing of each date and the amount, whether it's an ad hoc committee, whether it's, you know, so that it's
Right.
listed, because it's important, you know, for tracking, and also for us to have that information. So if you could make a note to do that, please.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing it. I keep thinking I'm doing it right and it doesn't come up right. Let's see. Yeah, I'll check that out. See what, because I break it out on the bill. And then I print the checks. So the checks should mirror the
it should be
bills.
printing on the stubs of the check.
Right, they should.
But
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, okay.
So, okay.
Okay, I'll have to see why that's happening.
Okay.
And then can I just ask a question? Back where we were on the Voyager fleet, kind of backwards from where we are right now. As far as fuel, I think it was like $300 something for diesel. Is that the new truck?
That's the dump truck. That's the new truck that I'm driving, and it also is some of the equipment when we're working a leak and we got to get fuel and we stop at Don's.
Okay, so that's just, so some of it you're fueling up there, and then some you're still doing from the yard, right?
Yeah, and really a lot of the yard should be held for emergency purposes. So, you know, we use it, but we try not to use it below a certain point, because then if we had some kind of emergency, we wouldn't have that backup fuel.
Right. Okay. I was just wondering why it went up a chunk, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go to, the Ferguson, I'm gonna leave this on your desk. We're gonna need to recut a new check. You had cut the check for 1,049.24. When you put in the information on that, the third invoice, that you have here that you said 328.38, you transposed a number. It should be 382.38.
Oh, well, okay.
So what I'd like you to do is void this check and cut a new check, a correct check, if you would, please.
Okay.
So I'll leave that on your desk.
Okay.
And, let's see.
American Business, that was written in, right?
Yes.
Two $8 toner checks.
Yeah.
Is that okay? So one, because I only have one, but Broma said he had two.
Yeah, I hand wrote it in and, because I cashed another
found
check
another
after I
invoice.
finished everything, yeah. Because, Tiffany brought it to my attention.
Yeah, okay. So then on the unified field ones, which we don't know, we're gonna have to wait and see if we're gonna make a correction to this or not. And, but you have it under transmission and distribution. Those two should be under Wolf Tank.
Well, I have one here that's under Wolf Tank, check number 14684 for 5,000.
No, I'm talking about one.
Wait. That one shouldn't be under Wolf Tank. Hold on. 114 what?
I mean, that's under LOW. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the unified field on page 5 of the check detail.
Okay. Oops, I don't have page 5.
So that's the check for 104,000 and the check for 25,000.
Uh-huh.
Those two, you have it under transmission and distribution, but that's under the project. It should go under Wolf.
Okay. Okay, so do you want me to rewrite the check or are we going to just change it?
At this point, no, you have to, that's something we'll know by Tuesday. Dee's gonna be checking these out anyways.
Okay.
But so when whatever it is, we're gonna have to make the correct, but you'll still have to make the correction in your system. Once we know that if those checks go out, then it needs to be where you've got it to transmission and distribution, it should be under Wolf. Because I thought we had because that's under a project expense.
Yeah, it's an asset and needs to be depreciated, so it should be under our assets.
Okay, and then lastly, on the bank card, I don't have half the receipts for and I don't know,
Well, what happened with that, Brahma, is I was just in a hurry and I didn't get attach everything. So, and I didn't get to classify everything. So
Right.
when I get that back, I will do that.
Right, but the thing is that when I get it, we need to have the receipts that Johnny has for that so we can see what he's buying and seeing what's going on there. I mean, because we're having to approve this stuff, and so we're always looking at what's going on here.
Right,
and,
right.
And so I have on here, like 3 or 4 Amazon receipts that are missing. So I don't know what was purchased. And so that's a problem.
Okay.
So we have to have that information on there so we can.
I have receipts here, so I will attach them and then send you a copy of it so that you
Okay.
can see that it's been verified.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty, then that's it.
So you're going to get back with me, Director Nyman, so I know what's going on with that?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll entertain a motion that we pay our bills.
I'll move that we pay our bills, but there's some, with some amendments or exceptions being we need to, I don't even have the whole list in front of me. We need to recut, we need to hold off on the two large partial payments, number 4 and 5.
For unified.
Right, those are gonna get addressed on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. We need to, for unified, we need to recut the check for
Ferguson.
with the correct amount. We need to hold off on the AT&T check until Johnny confirms that. And we need to check AP, see what's going on with the payroll, with the auto debits that we don't should be there. So we're confused about that. And what else? That should be it.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, Director Garcia, second that. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried, 5-0-0. One other thing that we need to discuss is the postal. So my question is, and Tiffany, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm looking at this. We have a current balance as of 4/30 of $333. How long is that going to last? It seems to me that we should be cutting some check. Because how much is our normal postal? Because I know at 4/28 you had a used postage of $453. What is it? Do we know what our average month is on this?
Well, the last month was like around over $400. I
Right.
did a reconciliation on it, but I can't find it. We started off with like 200 and something dollars left over from the prior month.
And we
And
sent
then
a check for $500.
500, and then we spent about $435.
453.
Okay,
And-
53.
And so we ended up, so now we're at a balance of 333.85. My
Okay,
concern,
and I suggest that we should put in another $500.
well, you actually, in your note, you said only to keep it up to a 500 balance. I'm
Right.
thinking that we need to put more than that in there. Because if we're using 453 a month, Tiffany, do you have any idea how much we use on a monthly basis there?
On the permit, we only send mailings once a month. So yeah, it's about 450 a month. And it's right at the end of the month.
So we needed to have a check made this month for 500. Because we have a balance as of 4/30, $333, which means we're going to go in the red.
Well, by the end of the month, I think the bills go out at the end of the month. We will have already put in another 500.
Well,
So she'll
that's why
spend
we
another
normally,
400.
but see, normally every second meeting is when we do the postal check.
Yeah.
The first of the first meeting of the month, we usually have a postal check that we sign to send in there.
Okay.
So that's something that I think we should cut a check for $500. That we need
Okay.
to cut a check, and can we get a motion to approve that, Director Schoenberg?
Well, I guess with that additional information, we can just amend the motion that I made if the
Okay.
secretary is okay with it. So,
Are you okay with that, Director Garcia?
Accept that.
Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, and Director Schoenberg.
aye.
500. Okay, so I'll put this on your desk, Linda. So basically,
What?
you can hold off on those till after our meeting on Tuesday.
Go to
So we
bed.
should have all the
It's okay.
information of what checks
Go to
need to
bed.
be recut, and will be left there. Okay.
Okay, yes, sounds good.
Yeah.
Because I'll be in on Monday.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
all right, sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
We
Thank
can hear
you.
Jerry.
Okay.
Pardon?
All right. I think her dog's getting restless. Discussion vote on book asset detail.
Okay, so that was what I was bringing up. We need to deal with that pretty quickly. So I don't know, Director Nyman, or we need to probably go in and lay all that out and go over all the different, grant loans so that we can try to figure out what I was talking about earlier on.
Okay. Okay. So
Where is that? Where are we at?
where are we at? What do you mean?
On the agenda.
Didn't we?
It was number 9 on the agenda, but we had moved it after 14, remember? Did you want to make a date, Director Schoenberg?
Okay, hold on one second. Yeah, I guess we need to do that.
I mean, I'm available either next Wednesday, or we can go in for the because we have the state update meeting on Thursday at 10, and then we could do it
Yeah,
after the.
I have problems because I've got a sick dog right now, so I kind of have to do it in the afternoon.
Okay.
So the state update meeting I was gonna do from home.
And then you could come in the afternoon if you want.
I can do Wednesday because can we do maybe like 2 o'clock?
Wednesday, 2 o'clock. Okay. All right. Okay, sounds good to me.
Is that we're probably gonna need Tiffany's help with that, just to find all that stuff, because we need all the grant books. What we would need would be I guess we would need the claims, the payments from those, so that we can figure out what was being paid for each item, like what we've paid for tanks, and all that stuff.
So would you be available Wednesday to help us, Tiffany?
I will be there.
Okay.
I will be here.
All right. And we'll be there. Okay. All right. So moving on to Number 16, discussion vote on policy for wasting water.
Just so you know, I included the water conservation policy in the board packets. And the last few pages actually have the consequences for wasting water.
Cool. Thank you,
For
Tiffany.
each
Appreciate
state.
it.
Yeah, I read what our attorney wrote us on that. And basically what he was saying is that we don't even necessarily need to amend our policy to give a warning as the very first item that we do, but that
And yet-
once we give that warning, the rest of the consequences would have to come.
But further in the plan, when I read the conservation plan itself, when it's spelling out the warnings, it spells it out in a year. This is what happens. So the fact that it's been a full year since the first warning, it's not an issue that I issued a second one a year later.
Okay.
But it was a second verbal warning, or was this written?
Yeah, I gave him one verbal warning a year ago. Then this year, when she turned him in again, I gave him a warning that, look, you got to stop this. If you don't stop this, and he said, okay. And he hasn't done anything since then. I watch him every day as I drive by his house.
So you're saying in the conservation plan, it resets every year?
Let me find the verbiage exactly. Let me see. Let me find it. I can't find it now. I've seen it, but the basic gist of it is it's not so set in stone that I can't give a verbal warning. And the fact that it was a year apart makes sense to give a verbal warning, especially since it's not even his bill that has to deal with it. It's some nice old lady that's letting him live there. Oh, I've seen somewhere where it stated within a year. Says a further violation in a year, in addition to termination of the water service, the installation of a restricted device will be placed on the water service connection if so authorized by the board at the owner's expense, which actually nobody even knows what that is. When I talked to our supplier, our meter guy, he don't even know what that is. But my whole issue with this whole deal was that if it's so set in stone that you have to give a written warning, no matter how long it's been, then the next time it's $100 fine. And there's plenty of people that just make a mistake and run some water down, and it needs to be to where I could go and judge whether or not it's an intentional thing or it's a pathological thing. It's something that happens all the time, or if it's just something that just happened to happen. Because part of the issue with this is it's not even, there's a steep driveway and a super steep hill on East End. So the fact that the water runs farther than it would, say, on your street, or farther than it would right in the heart of town, that plays into it too. And I have to be able to judge whether or not it's actually a direct violation of the conservation plan, or if it just seems like it ran a little bit farther than it did, because I never seen it run as far as what she claimed that it did. And I went and checked it out that day.
I'm just concerned about what the attorney wrote.
Well, in response to my email, I put, we had an issue with a customer turning in her neighbor for violating the water conservation plan. She turned him in last year and I went and spoke to him. Last month, she called again and I went out and spoke to him. She wrote a letter to the board stating that I must follow the conservation plan, which states, and it gives the first violation written warning, second violation $100, third violation turning the water off at $100 reconnection fee. Can this be amended by my board to allow verbal warning first? When I wrote the conservation plan, I quoted directly from the water code section 375. I would rather not be so strict as to not give a verbal warning, but if you suggest I stick with the adopted plan, I will do so. He said the fact that someone commented to the board does not mean that you cannot issue a verbal warning. If you do so and the customer corrects his behavior, then you'll be in good shape. I suggest not going to the trouble of amending the policy. Among other reasons, it sounds like your current policy was drafted to conform to state statute and amendment risk, making the policy non-compliant. That said, if the verbal warning doesn't work, you should be prepared to issue a written warning consistent with the conservation plan. I would advise that regardless of the letter to the board. So I stated directly in there that I gave him a verbal warning last year and I gave him another this time. And he says, we don't have to be so strict as to follow that. As long as I'm prepared to give a written warning, which I am. If he did it another time this summer, I would absolutely do that. I would follow it strictly. But you guys are the board. If you guys decide you want me to be more strict, then that's, obviously entirely up to you, but.
I'm not really, I just want to make sure we adhere to what the attorney said, so
yeah, I agree.
I understand, yeah, so I understood it that you can give a verbal warning and that if stuff continues, because we needed to put in our policies what's compliant with the recommendations from the state, that, if something continues, that we would do that. I don't know between like a year apart or whatever.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I was explicit that I gave him 2 warnings a year apart. Explicit in my email to him, and his response was, "Don't worry about it." Basically, don't worry about it. Stick to what you're doing. Issue a written warning if he does it again.
Right. That's kind of what I understood.
Yeah. So
are we letting the landlady know?
Hey, I posted a note there, but she hasn't been there when I've gone there. She's so, but again, the guy, this whole thing boils down to a dispute between 2 neighbors that can't stand each other, and we're getting stuck right dead in the middle of it. So I followed up with the attorney to make sure that legally we're not doing anything wrong, and I will be certain to give him the written warning and the fine if he continues doing it. But again, we're still in compliance right now, according to our attorney.
Okay.
I think you handled it very well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're just going to leave it as is.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Where's mine? I'm getting drowned in paperwork here. Okay. So moving right along. 17 discussion vote on 18 discussion vote on changing or continuing modified services procedures adopted March 19th, 2020. So I think that
I do have a question about this. So the CDC today said anyone who has been vaccinated fully does not need to wear a mask, including in some limited, business circumstances, etc. So I think we do need to just address that, whether we want to
Well, I
I-
read up on that today, hoping that that was going to give us more leeway, but it said in that from the CDC that you still have to follow state and local guidelines. And right now, Newsom still says he's not going to lift that restriction until June 15th.
Okay, then I think that we should remain exactly where we're at.
Yeah, and like our water company, we have only 2 of the 6 of us have been vaccinated, so there's still, the issue of not everybody being vaccinated. So, and I don't think it's going to happen. So I think we should just still stick with when customers come in, they need to wear a mask and because again, like you said, who's going to be the water police to start checking for vaccinations? A vaccination card. We can't do that. So whether somebody's vaccinated or not, they could say, well, I'm vaccinated, I'm not wearing my mask. So we have to keep it to where it doesn't get to that point.
Right, but after the 15th, or whenever Newsom lifts those restrictions, I don't think you're necessarily going to be able to do that, because
I agree.
what they're saying is if you choose not to get vaccinated, then it's on you, is what they're
Yeah,
saying.
and I fully agree with that. I'm looking forward to lift the mask mandate. I'm all for getting rid of it.
But yeah, so I would say we should continue until the state changes
Sounds good.
the regulations.
I don't think we have to vote on this, do we? Or do
No,
we-
no,
because
it's not
we just
changed.
need to continue it. Okay. So the last thing is, what you added something. My brain is fried.
The JPIA thing.
Yes, thank you.
Actually, I believe we can add that. The reason I added it is because I didn't know we were gonna have a special meeting, but I believe we can address that at the special meeting. So if Tiffany can put that on the agenda, what we do need to do is we need to decide, we need to form an ad hoc, so we need to have enough people to vote on that at the special meeting, and then, or we can vote on that tonight. And then we also need to, I'm still not completely, absolutely positive, Johnny, that this isn't like some extra thing. Like, does JPIA, have we physically talked to them, or maybe Becky needs to do that?
No, but what I did do was I got all the emails leading up to this from JPIA from, I think her name is Kristen, I forget now, but so then I went back to JPIA emails in the past, confirmed her email. Then when I sent it all to you guys, I included her in the email with the same email address that she's always used to send it to us, to make sure that everything's on the up and up.
Right, but is it a policy that we are required to, or that we need to? I mean, what is the additional cost of this? Is there an additional cost? We don't know anything about it.
No,
Like,
I know that's,
we haven't had a cyber policy, and we need to add a cyber policy to our bylaws. So we need to.
well, that's
we
why I
need
included
to-
everybody in it, because I can't make those decisions. So I thought somebody would respond to the email to the JPIA representative to ask that stuff, because the email I got implied that it's been in effect since 2016. So
Right, but as far as I know, I've never heard of this company from JPIA. I don't believe we've ever paid extra money for a cyber policy. I don't think we have a cyber policy on the book.
let me look it up again, because I don't think it is. It's just a questionnaire, I believe. I don't think it's a. Let me look at it up, the email again.
Hey, Tiffany, this is Becky.
Yeah.
Can I come on Monday and pick up a hard copy of this stuff?
Yeah, if Johnny forwards it to me, I wasn't included in the emails.
The Alliant thing?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see.
Who's got a cat?
Yeah, it says that it is not, I do, and I can't get rid of her. She's
Okay.
she's gonna be fixed on Wednesday, and she just came back in heat after having kittens, so she's losing her mind. Yeah, so it says that the renewal, we need to fill this out for the renewal of the application. So that implies that we have had it before, so we need to find out.
But we haven't, to my knowledge.
Well, I don't know if it's built through JPIA or not, because like JPIA don't insure us for everything they insure us either. They have individual insurers, I believe, for some of that stuff. I think I've seen emails from other people besides JPIA. I don't know if they cover everything strictly by themselves, but if you would like me to reply, I can, but I just assume that one of the board members would ask. That's why I sent this thing.
Well, I think that we need, I don't know if Tiffany can handle that. I mean, I don't believe we've ever paid Alliant anything. I don't understand that we've ever paid anything extra for a cyber policy. We don't have a cyber policy, so we need to create a cyber policy. So we need to either get whatever policy JPIA has and have it as a resolution and put it in our bylaws.
I actually vaguely remember this coming up before in the regards that we had to answer questions as to what kind of things we retained in our computers. And since we never retained any credit card information or anything of that nature, I remember answering those questions before. So we definitely need to follow up and find out, the cost and whether or not this is a renewal and who the money goes to and everything. But I think the policy, the questionnaire entails answering those types of questions to find out if we have to pay for additional amounts.
And if we've been paying already, right? I don't mind emailing them, but I can't read my emails. It's too small on my little tablet. So if I could pick up a hard copy and I could forward it to Tiffany if I've got it in my emails. Can I do that?
Let me forward to
Tiffany.
I'm sorry, Tiffany. Normally I include you in everything, regardless of whether or not you ask me to, but I guess I dropped the ball on this one. So I'm going to send you all of them.
Okay.
And we do retain social security numbers, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, in ADP, but if not for any customer, we don't.
Right.
In my computer, we absolutely keep that stuff, but it's actually the security of ADP that retains that.
It could be a questionnaire about renewing it, and maybe we have been paying it, and it is part of JPIA, but it's called Alliance. I mean, we just need that stuff clarified, right?
Right. Yep. So Becky, since you're our JPIA rep, you're going to clarify that, and then, we need to do it fairly rapidly because it's due on the 28th, and there's
I'll send it. I can email them on Monday.
Okay, because I think you and I are gonna, if we're actually, if we're the ad hoc, because I'm the treasurer and you're the JPIA rep, and I believe Linda was included in that also, we need to probably all get together to make sure that we're filling it out correctly. And
I'll entertain a motion from one of the other directors that we create an ad hoc committee of Lisa and Becky Gibson to work on this JPIA cyber questionnaire.
I'll make that motion. I would move that we would appoint Lisa and Becky as the new cyber ad hoc committee.
Do I hear a second? Director Kelly. Director Kelling.
It's her phone thing. She can't unmute herself.
She's muted. Yeah.
It's a technical difficulty thing right now.
So how
I
can I?
believe it's *6. Can she hit *6?
Try *6.
There's *6 or *9.
Would it be legal for her to send a message on the Zoom app?
Yeah, she can put it in the chat.
Okay, would you second that in the chat, Director Kelling?
I don't think she can if she's on her phone and not on the computer.
Yeah, you can on your phone. I mean, at least I can.
Okay.
Or I could read the chats anyway.
Okay, well, since
All right.
this is falling flat, why don't we just put this on the agenda for the special meeting?
Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, and I think that's it. Any future agenda items?
Do you want me to go over everything for the special meeting that I have?
Hold on, you want to say something, Terry?
Can you put me on speaker?
You're on speaker.
Hey.
Okay. I say aye.
So you second that motion?
I second, yes, I second Director Garcia's motion.
Okay, so roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Abstain?
Okay, Director Kelling.
Aye.
Okay, Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Abstain.
Okay, so that's three ayes, 2 abstentions, motion carried. And that's it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so we're back to the agenda items.
Yeah, for the special meeting, I have the MOU for the battery backups. I have the cybersecurity. I have the contract with Johnson Drilling. I have approval of progress payment number 4 and 5.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, and okay, if there's no further thing, I would entertain a motion that we adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Jerry Garcia has seconded it. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia. Director Garcia. Director Garcia. Could you say an aye?
I didn't hear him. He's unmuted.
Okay, Director Garcia is absent. Director Gibson.
Aye.
We've lost Director Kelly. So
Wait, who seconded that motion? Wasn't it Garcia?
yeah, he seconded it, but
Yeah, he can't. He
Can you hear
can't.
me?
Yeah, now we
Are
can
you-
hear you.
okay, you said aye, Director Garcia? Okay. Yes,
Aye.
he said aye. Director Nyman's an aye, Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
and Terry is absent. So 4-0, 1 absent. We are adjourned at 10:02. Director Schoenberg, I'm going to come by and get signatures from you, and then I'll do the second. I'll do the other signatures.
Aye. Can you hear me? Aye.
Yeah, we heard you. Thank you. We'll do the other.
Aye.
Yes, we'll do the other, we'll do the others. I'll do the other signatures tomorrow with Director Kelling and
Thank you,
get those-
everybody.
those checks out. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Good night.
Oh, my God.